Got him. Hey, everybody. What is going down? Oh, I forgot something. Hang on.
Not me at the moment.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You ever have one of those moments where you release a video and then you go back and you watch it and you realize, oh, crap, I should have said that?
All the time. All the time.
Oh, I had a bad one today.
Yeah.
I had a bad one. I was watching it with Angela. She wanted to see my latest video, and I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, son of a bitch! I should have said that." And I was like, "Damn!" It was like the worst missed opportunity.
Yeah. What? Wait a minute. Skydiver Tanner's in the house. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Skydiver Tanner? Oh,
Mr. Schrodinger's cat. Hello, good to see you. Elizabeth Sylvester. So many folks here. I've missed all of you. So Weekend Horror was first. I think I know why Weekend Horror was first. Jail's been hunting for me. Skits Crasher, hello. Scuba Cat, good to see you. H. Madison, R. F. Richardson Jr., PhD Tony, boom, says hello. Hello to you all.
No
Cindy
shit,
Johnson,
Tony's
good
in the house?
evening. Yeah, I know. That's what I said. Mystery Soft Set Theater, 3000. Is in the house. Good to see you. Oh, I'm beat. Pat Downs, good to see you. Syrian, good to see you. Pete, that looks Polish to me. I could be wrong. This is big hello from all your friends, Omaha, Nebraska. All right. I've never been to Nebraska. One of the few states I've never been to.
No.
And they call it a flyover state. I still would like to go. I would like to go just because I want to go to all the states in the United States, but we'll see what happens. Let's see.
Well, it's better than Delaware. Hi.
Delaware. I'm in
Delaware.
We've got Unlocked in the house as we have Krishy. No, good to see you. Tony Regime, good to see you. Freckles, good to see you. Zachariah Hooper, hello. Ren Nicole, hello. Good to see so many people. Facty, good to see you. Abe Oliver, good to see you. Roshan O'Neill, good to see you. Oh, damn, I'm able to make a live stream. Feels like ages. Miss everyone. Yeah, we do miss you too. Miss you too, Skydiver Tanner. It's been a minute. Mr. Andrek, good to see you. Brendan Riley, good to see you. So many people. You guys are awesome. All right, if I missed you, I apologize. Just at me and I will say hello. Teresa, good to see you. See you there. Melissa M., good to see you. From Birmingham, Alabama, thank you so much. Joe Whip says, hey, Johnny. Hello. Good to see so many people. Lucy and Darkwolf says, hello, everyone. H. Madison says, miss you, Johnny. I miss all you guys, too. Biggs Moore says, morning, Johnny O. It feels like morning for me. It's, my goodness. This past week, it's been insane. It's been insane. We'll say that. Ukrainian, actually. Oh, well, I'm, happy to have you here. I would try to pronounce your last name, but I would butcher it because I don't speak Ukrainian or Russian or any of those languages that aren't English. It's terrible. Angel Rivera, good to see you. Let's see here. I think that's everybody. I think I got you all. Thank you all so much for showing up. I really did miss all of you guys, but I was dealing with some personal issues and dealing with some other projects and whatnot. So yeah, PhD Tony says hello, plot hole and bridge the divide.
Well, hello, PhD Tony. It's good to finally see you. It's like freaking ghosted me over. He never shows up. I never see him.
Well, he's been ill, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's always ill when I'm on.
Well, context clues. I'm just kidding.
I'm fucking with you, or am I?
Am I?
But thank you, Zachariah. I appreciate that. That was I saw that go by. Where did it go? I missed it. Zachariah Hooper, who's recently been debating with young Earth creationists, and thank you for that. That's an amazing compliment. I appreciate that. Yeah, some would say, why would you debate young Earth creationists? The science is there, much like flat Earth. It's pointless. I mean, uranium to lead dating and zircon crystals pretty much destroy anything they've got. So, but I wish you all the best with that. Definitely go out there and embarrass some folks with some legitimate science, and I appreciate the compliment there. That's amazing to know that I helped to influence that. So thank you.
It's it very much is like debating flat earthers. It's just not, it's just pointless. There's all of this is going to piss you off, and you know what I mean. That's just the way it goes. But anyway, I miss all of you guys. I've had so many things going on, and my goodness. My goodness. I'm sorry. I got lost in the side chat. So last night. Oh, yeah.
Turnabout is fair play.
Maybe he was paying you a compliment.
Maybe it was a compliment. Maybe it was a compliment. In the realm of possibilities, this is one that you know.
Oh, Mystery Soft Set Theater says he wants to get right into the doxing.
Well,
all right. I think we can ease it in a little bit.
We can ease into it. Like what? Like because well, I don't know if I'm involved in that. I know that me and Irish got called out for some crap. But what about your week? Is there anything? I introduced PhD Tony to the works of Darth Dawkins, and he wonders why he ghosted me. You see,
That's fair.
This is the appropriate response. If I brought Darth Dawkins into your life and you no longer wish to be friends with me, I completely understand. I will not judge you harshly.
Yeah,
I won't. I would. You lie down with dogs, you get fleas, and you don't want to get fleas from me. So I understand that. If you see that and you determine that you are a better human being, more capable of providing better progeny for the future of our species to save our human race, then yeah, I get it. I apologize for bringing it into your life. I do.
Yeah, JL, you turned me on to Darth. I'll turn me on. I guess you exposed.
Exposed is better because it's like an infection.
It is an infection when you can't get away from relatively easily, and the one where you make some just little comments and Darth Dawkins loses his fucking panties. And I don't mean that to be, panties because like if you want to wear panties, wear fucking panties, but don't lose them. Don't lose them over some shit that people say on the internet.
I understand the need to we don't want to come off like we're kink shaming. We don't want to come off like we're denigrating any kind of, subculture or anything of that nature.
Yeah, right.
I don't think these rules apply to Darth Dawkins. I think I don't think we have to preface anything when we insult that person.
Yeah, I can't. I started out and I said what I had to say about Darth Dawkins. That was it. That was good enough for me. Daryl M says, guess I'll watch YouTube. Nothing else to do now. I finally got all those things there in. Yeah, I know. Wow, 5 in the house before test. That's terrible. Hopefully you guys recover relatively quickly.
So overall, I mean,
you know what? That's perfect. That's great advice. Just go commando. You don't have to worry about losing your panties. Period.
So this past week, you were extremely busy. So I know that a lot of the people that were in the live chat were with me last night with the Week in Horror, the episode of Week in Horror. We came on a day late. We had to push it because just things were crazy. It surprised me, to be perfectly honest, Johnny, that we ouch, Cerny and Dee Dee is a twisted testicle.
That makes me hurt.
It stings.
Like all the way up.
He's the personification of testicular torsion. That is what he.
Stop it! Fuck, no,
feel it in my joeys.
Yeah, you know how you get it. You like that pain that travels inside all the way up to the back of your ear. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're a dude and you've been kicked in the yobrils before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The pain that travels inside all the way up and hits you right back in here, going yeah.
Yes.
Really quick, let me answer this question.
Go ahead.
It says from an old ground pounder, what is doxing? So doxing is releasing personal information about people on the internet. That is doxing. Right? Usually doxing in a criminal sense involves releasing things like social security numbers, address, a little bit more than just like name, you know what I mean? Like somebody comes out and say, hey, that's JL Warren. Oh, like whatever, I don't give a shit. Or somebody goes, that's John Ortega. Oh God, I don't give a shit. You know my name, I don't care, whatever. But it's that going the extra mile and releasing like address and that like criminal doxing, right? Then you have the colloquial use of the word doxing when people give out, like when people get on YouTube or social media, they want to use a pseudonym or a fake name, whatever, that's fine. They should be allowed a certain amount of anonymity. And it's when other people take away the anonymity that people want to, they put that doxing moniker on there, which I understand, right? There's a reason why people hate, like PhD Tony changed his name from what it was to PhD Tony. Well, one, there's PH Big D Tony. Obviously, it matters, right? But most people don't. They want to be able to separate their online presence from their real life presence. And there's a reason. There's multiple reasons, but not just nefarious reasons. Some people would like to be able to, live a little freer without the threat of people going after them, especially nowadays with cancel culture and with people just doing crazy shit. I can understand why people would want to separate me, whatever. You guys know who I am, and easy to find me. I don't really make it a big mystery where I'm at. Coming after me is just not going to go good for anybody, because you're not going to find anything. I'm boring, not going to. But that being said, there are people who don't want, like Jail doesn't want his fucking address on the internet being posted around. Or
I'd prefer it not be. I mean, right. just to make my life just easier. I mean, sure. When it comes down to it, I don't care. It's not like anybody's going to get something from me if anybody shows up to my house that's problematic in its own right. But when it comes to it, but somebody did do that to me one time on a Discord stage, and it was live. There was like 400 something people in the chat, and some Muslim guy came on and doxed me live. Live. The whole thing went out to everybody there. But the problem was that the information he read off was old information that had not been updated. So he did not have all of my current details, but he had all of my old details, and was like, "Oh wow!" So but if you know where to look, you can find them very quickly. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, most people don't realize that there's no such thing as real anonymity on the internet. It's unfortunate, right? Because everything about you is on there, whether you participate in the internet or not. Every bit of information about you is out there. It just is. If you've ever gone anywhere, if you've ever used an email address, if you've ever used a debit card, credit card, if you've ever whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're out. It's out there somewhere. It's on some database. Somebody can find it.
Just ask the guy that Irish Demon pulled into his Discord when we had the Big Law Discord chat. I found him in 5 minutes, and we had him on the phone. So yeah, it's not difficult at all. It's actually, if you're willing to put, and unfortunately sometimes you got to put money in the right hands. But as long as you have the capability of doing that, as long as you can put money in the right hands, there is nothing that is hidden on the internet. You can find everything you need. So
it's funny. It's funny you say that. I mean, I know that you're not. I mean, you've made your whatever. I don't give a shit, right? You've done your things before, right? With Darth Dawkins and whatnot. The person we're talking about, it wasn't like you went and released information. There were things.
Oh no, I didn't dox him, but I was able to find his stuff.
Yeah. There were things that were happening. There were things that were happening that needed to be addressed and were potentially life threatening. So it's not like we're just going out there for kicks and whatnot, saying, "Hey, let's go get information on people just because we can." No, there were threats of violence. There were people whose lives were in danger. So we wanted to make sure that there were at least some sort of accountability for those people who were doing these negative things. Mystery Soft Set Theater says, my phone has been blowing up with spam ever since I was doxxed after filing my counter notifications, not just car warranty calls either. Yeah, that's another thing that happens when they put that stuff out there. You have to deal with that bullshit. I mean, that could be a coincidence, and it could be a direct result of that. So, hey, Simon, good to see you.
Oh, and to answer Zachariah Hooper's question, yes, I am familiar with Guts at Gibbons' channel. I'm familiar with the content. It's absolutely amazing. I love her love for anthropology. I love people that are excited about science and are excited about talking about stuff, which is why Forrest Valkai, I'm a huge fan of his. Not to mention I live in the same state as he does, so I hope to have him on the channel one day when he's not so busy, because his channel has exploded. But I love Guts at Gibbons. I love Erica. I love what she does. I love her debates. And I did not know that PhD Tony was on her channel was on there for an interview because YouTube sucks. And but I will definitely check that out. So very cool. But but I think this is further confirmation that he would rather hang out with intellectual people than he doesn't want to hang out with me anymore.
Apparently we're getting an AMG raid. Hello everybody from A Marvel Girls channel. So happy to have you here. Hello Tina. Hello Cliffy, Cajunese. All you guys are awesome. Mia Mina. Oh my goodness, so many folks. Hi to all of you. Mr. E-Man, good to see you. Alana Bryson Sword, good to see you. Oh, well, apparently it was all under duress.
Oh, that's okay. It just means it won't hold up in a court of law.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
So, so this past week, you were very, very busy. You had a
Yeah.
film shoot that was running you ragged. You had stuff going on. It was just, is there anything, well, or do you just want to? I don't know if there's anything you wanted to talk about concerning that, or
There's not a whole lot I can say about the film shoot. It's all very hush hush. You know how these things go, right? So you get to do all this work.
That's why the locations were weird.
Locations were secret and weird. Hey, Commander Darklight, good to see you. No, there were some things that were going down. There were some things that were going down.
I didn't know if you wanted to, extrapolate or elucidate on any of that, but that's fine. Obviously you don't have to.
There's some personal things that I don't. You guys know I don't have a problem sharing personal things, but there's some personal things that I choose not to speak about simply because they're difficult things to deal with, and they're dealing with kids and family and whatnot, and just so to say that there were some things like this past 2 weeks have really brought some things to my attention when it comes to where I need to be. Working an hour and a half away from home has not been conducive to a healthy family dynamic here. It's just too much. 3 hours a day on the road is just too far from work. My kids are being affected. My wife's being affected. I'm being affected. So I need to figure out how I can. I mean, I know where I need to be. I know what I need to. I know, like everybody has a number, right? There's a number that everybody has in their head what would take for them to be able to comfortably make a change. And I'm not here to. First, let me just. I'm not here to, look, guys, I need you guys to throw money my way. Please throw money. That's not why I'm here. That's not, you know what I mean?
Wow, Dr. Dave. Yeah. Listen, what he's saying.
Right. Yeah, this is in no way, shape, or form. You know what I mean. I try to keep this channel as free as possible. I put ads in my content because I make ad revenue and whatnot. I have memberships, and you're more than welcome to become a member. But in no way, never have I ever been like, well, if you're not a member, you don't get to do this. You know what I mean?
Business is business,
right?
Yeah, okay. We have bills to pay. We have lives. And to think that YouTube is not a job for some people is ridiculous.
Right.
And that just, there is no difference. Here's the difference. And I completely get what you're coming from. That number that you spoke of, the number that you referenced, the number that everybody has.
Right.
My former job, not the one that when I was doing maintenance, but the job before that, when I decided I'm going to do this YouTube thing and make it into something, that job pushed that number to zero. Because it all came down to my personal health, my mental health, and my well-being and the well-being of my life. It was not about money. I was out. I was done. And then I happened to find a job that I was at for 2 years that I really, really loved, and I got to learn new skills, and I got to foster some cool relationships. And if I ever want, I can always go back to that company, which is really, really cool. And I get to do this. But this is a job. When you work 9 to 5, you work 9 to 5. You make money, and you make money for somebody else. You make some money for yourself and more money for somebody else. When you decide to do this and go into business for yourself, you're an independent contractor. You do your thing. You build your channel. You make your money, and you end up working. I didn't want to work 9 to 5, so I decided to do this. Now I work 24/7.
Right.
Which is pretty much what it's about. And if they think that this stuff just like magically throws itself together, this is a business. It is a job. And it requires our attention all the time because now we're no longer an employee. We're the freaking CEO. You're literally in charge of everything. You're in charge of your content. Yeah. You're in charge of your marketing. You're in charge of your branding. You're in charge of your interactions. Everything. You're all the departments rolled into one.
Right.
And that didn't click for me for a while because I was running the same thing when I had this idea in my head, and it was when I was my interactions with Team Skeptic. Team Skeptic helped teach me that this is the mentality of it, that it's not like you're talking to an employee who's got, just like, personal time they could do. It's like, no, you're always on the ball, just like any other, job that you're running. And, when you say full time, it's not 40 hours a week. It's all the time.
Yeah,
it's literally all the time. I'm not doing something else.
You got to think about it this way. In the type of content that I cover, right? You do more societal, like you comment on the harms of outside influence on politics and societal divides and whatnot. I do a lot of reacting to the silly stuff, right? The like the sovereign citizen movements and the flat earth and all this stuff. So you gotta have to, there were a lot of things that I got scooped on simply because I couldn't focus on the channel, right? I had to go to work and whatnot. And whatever, that's fine. You know what I mean? I still did my thing and I still put out content. No, I'm not complaining at all, right?
There were times I felt weird about that. Like Godless Engineer would cover something that I was looking at covering, and all of a sudden I'd see the video out, and I was like, should I cover this? Because he's already covered it. I feel like he's like, dude, does only one newspaper run a story, dude? Run
exactly.
Do the freaking clip, man.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That's where it's at. You've got to pay attention to the things that you cover so you can get content out. It's not just like, hey, one day I wake up and I'm going to go. There's hours and hours and hours looking for that video that's newish and that you connect with. Because there are tons of videos that you look at, like, I could do this or I could do that, and I could put out a video that's just me putting out a video, but it's not going to be me at my top form. And then you find that video that's like, all right, cool, then boom, you know what I mean? And you get in there, like, all right, cool, let's do this, let's do that. And it takes time to craft your jokes and your script and all that stuff, and then you record and then you edit and then you know what I mean, you do all it's a job. It really is a job, right?
And then you kick yourself in the ass when you realize that you should have said something when you said something else. Oh my god, it was a Braveheart reference. It was perfect to what he said. It popped in my head. I was like, you know why? Because I did it when I was tired.
Yep. There's a lot of things you'll miss, and that's the thing, Yeah. SAPC upgrades. I have seen your emails. Okay, so part of what kept me away I was pretty much disconnected from email and text and Facebook and it's all that stuff. I just kind of stepped away from it for a bit to take care of things that were going on, like this rascal right here. Chaos
on wheels. And I've only gotten a small dose of it. You get it all the time.
Having a sleepover with my friend.
You're having a sleepover, all right. Are you gonna go watch a movie? Probably. But all that stuff, you know what I mean? All these stuff here. And where is it? Somebody, where to go? I saw it and I wanted to bring this up. Jason Knight says, don't watch just for the content of the presenter too. And that's important, right? So just because I cover something and Team Skeptic covers the same thing and Irish Demon covers the same thing, it's going to be different, right? Now, there are going to be some things that are going to be universally the same, right? When we're talking about Glenn Serio, there are going to be things that are just universal, the jokes write themselves, but there's still that personality thing. Speak of the devil and he shall appear.
And he appears. And he's right. Yeah, what he's saying there is absolutely correct.
Yeah, right. Just trying to hear my name being brought up with full-time YouTube. People don't realize that I spend 60 to 80 hours a week looking for content, researching videos, and producing them. Yeah, exactly. It's a job. I mean, it really is. And it's not like I'm over bitching about it. You know what I mean? Oh, I can't believe we got to do this job. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's fun. Like, I enjoy doing this stuff, right? Yes.
And the big thing on that is, and I love doing what I do as well. And I try to put as much into it. And we all have our different styles. We all have the ways that we present information, and we're trying to make it our own. That's our personal brand because it's literally ourselves that we're putting out there. And that the Team Skeptic, I brought you up because you helped me to learn to look at it from a different perspective. Because when I first started doing it, I was looking at it from a kind of employee's perspective. As on the ground floor looking up instead of being the CEO of everything and looking down on the bigger picture. So Team was instrumental in helping me to see the bigger picture and look at my channel for what it was. And he was instrumental in getting me to kind of put myself out there and really start going and trying to do bigger things with it. And that's what it takes. But all that being said, it's a job. And when you do work that people enjoy, and you put it out there for consumption, it doesn't matter. When it comes down to it, it doesn't matter about super chats. It doesn't matter about memberships. It doesn't matter about swag. What matters is that you get the ad revenue. That's what it's about, because YouTube feels that if we put content out there and the content is popular, we deserve to get paid for that. Everything else, and the more subscribers you get, the more ad revenue you get.
Right.
Super chats, super stickers, merch, and channel members, and the benefits that come along with that, or Patreon or whatever. That's all icing on the cake. That's all like this, people who really want to support your channel, but otherwise it's there. And so we put those things out there because sometimes the ad revenue while we're building doesn't cover the cost of the sweat equity. There's a lot of equity that goes into making stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And the ad revenue doesn't cover the cost of that.
I want to make sure and reiterate, we're not complaining, not at all, right? This is fun. It really is. You know what I mean? I think it was, I forget who, maybe it was Carl Sagan who said that, do what you enjoy, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Never work a day in your life.
He every single day. I've never remembered reading or hearing about Carl Sagan saying, "I have to go to work today. I get to go to work today. I get to go look at the stars. I get to talk to people about science." He thoroughly enjoyed what he's doing. I enjoy doing this stuff. I enjoy film production. I mean, it was huge. It was so much fun. And we have another special guest who wants to speak on the subject. It's a nipple.
Yeah. So
there he is.
What up?
What's going on there, skeptic?
Nothing, man. Like we're talking about work, and I literally was sitting down to record a video. I was just kind of taking it all in, getting that pre-video recording butterflies fluttering out my throat. I practice that shit.
You do vocal exercise before you go on?
Yeah.
New York, New York, New York, New York, New York. Right? That's how it goes.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather.
That one's hard. I just do red.
Well, I think I'm okay. No, I'm not gonna say that because it sounds like I'm bragging. But I'm a classically trained actor, so
I'm not gonna say it, but let me go and say it.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to come off like I'm bragging, but that's the routines that and those are habit for me. I had no idea that you go through that you would do the same stuff. Just because but I've been to theater school.
No, I don't do any of that shit. I just sit back, smoke a blunt, get in that mental mind state. Every single listen. Hey, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of tips tonight, right? Number one, get in your most comfortable setting because people love people who are genuine. So what do? I smoke a blunt right before I right before I record. I mean, like I put it out, look at the camera, and go, "Let's fucking go." Hit the record button. Hit the other record button, start my fucking video, and don't stop it until I'm done.
Lemon face. Ah, lemon face. Ooh, lion face. Ah, lemon face. Ooh, lion face. Ah, break it down.
But
PSC Tony says, at Team Skeptic, nice cover story. We know your next vid is an expose of the plot hole. Well, trouble now.
Well, yeah. So YouTube is a fickle bitch. Okay, like YouTube loves and hates. That's right.
Yep,
it does.
She's a fickle mistress.
Right now, I am dealing with trying to earn self-certification back on monetization. Let me tell you how much of fucking bullshit this is, right?
Oh, dude, I know exactly how much bullshit it is.
No, you mean okay? When you refer to that, just make sure that I'm up to speed. You're talking about when you upload a video and it automatically assumes that you've got it right?
Yes.
No.
That's self-certification.
Okay,
he's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I upload a video, it doesn't ask me to go through the rigmarole. It's just like, you've done so well in the past. We're going to assume that you know what you're doing. And
yeah.
So
all right. Look, since this isn't my channel, I can't get in trouble for it. Everybody, go report JL Warren's videos.
It's funny that you bring that up.
Yeah, we're about to get into that. Yeah.
Well, I'll step away before y'all start talking about doxing. I'm
100%.
100%. Oh, really? Is it within the community type shit?
It is.
Okay. Well, look, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll go over my whole YouTube shit because there's people out there that want to be content creators. Now I want to tell you how it's done. Okay. Here's how it's done. Don't be Johnny. Okay. Boom. Done. You'll win. No.
You see this model? Don't use it.
I literally every day before I record a video, I go watch Johnny's last video and say, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
No, it really.
See that? Be better.
Yeah.
Be better than that.
So much so that I refuse to be on camera on his live stream.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway,
Put a big pierced nipple there instead. You know what's fucked up? You have
Yeah.
somebody who comes on your channel and draws circles, and you get your fucking channel like turned off,
That was ridiculous.
and then this thing shows up.
It was ridiculous.
That's two giant circles, much like what we saw. They got you shut down, and they're cool.
Yeah.
With it. Yeah.
There's two of them though.
That's true.
Yes, you are right, Brainy. Yeah, Brainy, you did send it to me, and we are going to discuss as soon as we pay the Team Skeptic tax.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Commander
I'm only going to be here for a few minutes. I literally woke up like an hour ago, and like I said, man, I was getting ready to jump in the shower and start recording. I saw you were live. I sat back and said, I'm gonna see what he's talking about, and like as soon as I sat back to see what you were talking about, I heard Team Skeptic and full-time YouTube, and it really, really, really does take a lot to get where I'm at. Okay, like no lie, I'm not trying to.
It takes a lot to get where I'm at, and I'm a sixth of your size. So yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your weight.
Oh no, that would be
six times.
He's yeah, it would be. I'm 6 times your size.
It'd be the inverse of 1/6. Okay.
Yeah, right.
It's the inverse. Strike that.
Anyway,
reverse it.
Yeah. Anyway, what a lot of people don't realize is, and Darklight does. Darklight's in the chat right now. He knows. We talk about this all the time. Like there's a lot that goes into every video I put out. Like every video is as meticulous as possible. All the research I can possibly do. You're right, Johnny. I sit down and I stopped writing stuff because I feel like I can be funny on the fly, unlike you. So I just don't write my shit down.
Sure.
I just go off the flow, but I do watch it about 8 times before I record, which I'll do that tonight too. I'll turn it off and throw that on, but that's about like,
we all know why. You watch it 8 times because you're fucking vain. Okay.
Not my video. I watched the source video.
The time he spends watching the source video is like the time I spend watching it and scripting it as I'm watching it. And then I'll jump back and forth through it to make sure, that what I have is the best. And then I'll come up with the best response to it. And then I move on. And then I get through it and I'm done. That's my script. And then I shoot it. But he will watch it, and then be like, okay, this is what I'm going to say. And that's pretty much what he does. So
I feel like I'm able to call people retarded easily without offending people when I do it like that. So, like if I write it in there, it seems like I'm being like really mean. But yeah, but I put a lot of time in. I work real hard on getting new content, and then when I find new content, I research that content to make sure that I get all the laws right or all the science right when it was flat Earth, all the Karens right. When it was Karens.
Well, that's easy. There's no research in getting the Karen.
I know. Right. That's easy content, but I don't know. The Karens are going away. Like, I don't like to.
They're not going away as people stop giving a shit about it.
Well, no, you're right. They're not going away yet, but if you continue to cover Karens, you have to go. I've covered Karens for a particular reason, almost exclusively because of anti-vax, anti-mask. Right. So I don't just like making fun of people because they're entitled, because that's easy content. It's lazy content to me. Oh, look at this person, thinks she's special. She's not special. I like to have a reason, just like I like to call the Karens out and the First Amendment auditors and the Sov-Sit Karens out, because they still think they're better than everybody else. They still think the laws that apply to me don't apply to them.
Right.
So I call out that type of entitlement, and that's what I'm going to always do, is call out that type of entitlement. But it takes a lot of work, You gotta put it in the work to think about it. If you find an 8-minute video, think of how many 8-minute videos I watched before I got the one that I could like, and then I continue to watch because I try to get all my content at one time. I don't like spread it out. I don't say, oh, okay, I got one today, good, let's go. Now I'm gonna do one tomorrow. Now I get about 5 videos at one time, and then I just line up my whole week, or line up my next 2 weeks.
Right.
And because Chili's been putting out a lot of content.
Hey, my goodness, that guy's just
that guy is a walking meme.
He is. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So, team, you're more than welcome to stick around for the next portion of the show. I know you said you were busy, and I won't be offended.
Well, I'm gonna stick around just so I can hear what's going on because I'm ignorant to this, so I have no idea.
Fair enough.
And I'm just gonna sit back and listen. But I will be after that. I guess I'll chime in and then I'll dip out.
I'm going to start off by sharing a portion of a video sent to me by Combat Wombat.
But Brandon Beaver reminded me that it really comes that like all of this pretty much stems from Combat Wombat's work. Is that Combat did the coverage, Combat got the information out there to the pertinent parties, and that's what was important. So, but Brandon was the one that messaged me. So
yeah,
here we go.
This is important here. Now, I don't generally like to get into the whole mudslinging back and forth and whatnot. You know, Irish Demon and JL Warren and Team Skep, these guys can fucking fight their own battles. However, I will call out shitty behavior when I see shitty behavior, and this is shitty behavior.
Love your stream. Yeah, you loved your stream. You loved it a long time.
Combat Wombat. Uncle Audie wants to know about Combat Wombat. Strike.
What about him?
Answer up on the copy strike you just put on Combat Wombat.
He's on my list too. All you guys are on my S list. Hey, you know what? If you put stuff up about me, I'm going to take it down. How, you know, what else can I tell you?
See, that
you could
there,
be a man.
Well, you could be a man about it and just say, hey, you know,
hasn't taken my video down yet.
well, but here's the thing, he's trying to, right? He's trying to. So this is another thing I wanted to show everybody. I'm sure some people have seen this. I'm doing this where you don't see exactly, because there's some doxing information on this website here, and you know, don't do that. Don't release people's information. But
yes, that is my channel. That's up there at the top, and then Irish's channel that's below that, and then I think Uncle Artie's is below Irish Demon.
Yep.
Was added to this. This is their list of channels that they want their followers to mass report.
Yeah, so
the intention.
Here's what I'll say about that. Like, I don't like brigading. Okay, I said, tell everybody, y'all make your own mind up. I don't care. You like me, you don't, you don't.
Right.
You can watch, you can leave a dislike. It really doesn't bother me. Whatever.
Hang on a second. I have to address something really quick. Nick Wan says, oh shit, you guys hate Dave too. This is why frauditors will always win. We hate on each other more than frauditors. First and foremost, I don't give two shits about Dave. He can do whatever he wants. I don't care. Do what you want. My issue is not with Dave the person, it's with his actions.
Right.
Now, we couldn't sit here and say that, well, Long Island Audit's actions are egregious without calling out the egregious actions of people who do similar shit. Okay. We can't sit there and say, well, PayPal Patty is an asshole because he wants to go copyright strike people who he shouldn't be copyright striking, and then give Dr. Dave, the beer professor, a pass for doing the exact same thing. That's the problem. Dr. Dave is more than free to be a homophobe, a racist, misogynist, whatever. I'm not saying that he is. I don't know. I don't care. If that's what he wants to be, then be that. That's fine. I support his right to have his own opinions and his own views. I support his right to be able to speak those freely. I would much rather a racist be able to speak freely, because then I know who the bad guy is, or at least I know who I would identify as a bad guy. Again, I'm not saying Dr. Dave is any one of these things, because I don't know. I've seen some evidence that would suggest that he is not on the up and up when it comes to those types of things. But again, I haven't seen all the evidence. I haven't seen all. Whatever.
I love how that comment addresses us hating Dave, which none of us said that.
Right.
But doesn't address the fact that Dave's trying to brigade against the same channels. He's like, this is why we can't win. Well, what are you talking about? This guy's literally trying to brigade against channels that are in this community.
Yes.
What are you worried about us for? Like, just a question. Why are you worried about us? We haven't even said we hate this guy. So why are you worried about us and not worried about what Dave's doing by brigading? Now, back to what I was saying was that I don't encourage brigading, but this is 100% against terms of service. You cannot do this.
Right. Right. And that person who put that out, that S Saul, whatever, I believe is one of his moderators.
Right. That's the whoever that person is the one who put it up on the channel. The that Dr. Dave Hater Trolls channels, the S list as they're referring it to. And yeah, Brandy Beaver's right. We would call this behavior out in auditors. We would call this behavior anywhere out.
Yes.
If I saw this behavior in public, I would call this out straight to the individual's face, because it's not Dave himself. It is Dave's purport, his actions on his channel. It's the things that he does.
Right.
The thing that he'll perform, he'll behave in a particular way, then he'll half-ass apologize about it and slowly walk it back, and then he'll do it again, and then it's the same repeating cycle. The point is, he doesn't learn from his mistakes, or he doesn't care, and so he's free to do these things. But when he calls out specific individuals, then he forfeits the right. When he starts calling out individual people, he forfeits the right to be angry about any kind of feedback, or to try and brigade against people who are giving him feedback on that.
Right.
I didn't call him out or put anything out through the transphobic incident. I didn't put out anything regarding the Teleklein incident. I didn't put out anything until he went after Irish and made those claims about Irish and about Jen. And that's when I finally said something, because I'd had enough.
Right. We're going to get back to that part too, because I think that's, the whole issue here. Really quick, ATV Thunder for $5 says, at work, but I had to pop in. Thanks for coming back. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. I really do appreciate it. Mr. E-Man says, Dr. Dave does not believe in the right of others to express their opinion. I agree. And, the actions that he's done, the things that he's done, talking about taking, there's another portion of that video where Dr. Dave talks about he's got people who he pays to do these things for him.
No, he doesn't.
I'd like to point something out, though, because I don't honestly think that he does believe that others don't have the right to express their opinion. That's what makes what he's trying to hide so important to see. All right? Because he doesn't normally hold these values. He's only holding these values in this one instance. And in this one instance, it's because he's being shown, like, his true colors are being shown. And he doesn't want people seeing that. So that's why he's copyright striking. Not because he doesn't believe in people expressing their opinions, but because he's definitely trying to hide what other people are trying to expose him for.
Right. And here's the thing, he talks about, well, they're bringing up all this stuff that happened years ago. That's why I did it. Okay. Well, let's say, look, I'm not perfect. I did some fucked up shit years ago. If somebody were bring it to my attention or bring it up, hey, this is that and the other. Look, that was who I was 10, 15 years ago. That's not who I am today. I made mistakes as a youngster growing up. You learn from those mistakes. You grow from those mistakes.
Hashtag James Gunn.
Well, there you go. You ask those whom you've hurt for their forgiveness. You express a genuine apology. An apology does not start out, well, I'm sorry if you felt this way, or I'm sorry if.
Lately, I've been under attack. So let me apologize.
Right. That's not, no, because now you're painting yourself as a victim, and you're not the victim. You're the person who's perpetrated the offense.
Bingo.
Period.
Bingo, bango.
Guys, I did some shit in my past that was fucked up. I called these people out, or I said these terrible things about this certain group of people or that certain group of people. I shouldn't have said it. I was wrong then. I know that it's wrong now. So I'm going to do the best that I can to not do that shit again. You don't sit there and say, well, because so-and-so put out a video saying these things about me, I'm going to go copyright strike them. You don't fucking do that shit.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I would never do that. I tell people they can say whatever the fuck they want about me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and I tell them the same thing. I keep bringing this up because I think it's important. You've got people that with the whole Unirock thing, right? Unirock. I would all the time people come on to me and say, "Hey, Johnny, Unirock's talking about you again. Let him. Don't care. Don't care what he says.
It's his right.
It's right.
It's just like my right to criticize other people on the internet. It's other people's right to criticize me on the internet.
I'll take that.
I put myself out there too for that reason.
I got to knock on the door.
I'll take that free advertising.
It's not even about that. It's literally about having an open discussion. You can never have an open discussion if you always tell the person who disagrees with you. You just can't, that you're not going to talk to him about it. That you're not going to see his point of view. And with Unirock, it always happens. Anybody criticizing Unirock is not trying to see his point of view, and he's not trying to see their point of view. They're just going to butt heads. The same thing happened with me. You know, when I was getting into it with Unirock, I wasn't trying to see his point of view. He wasn't trying to see my point of view. And we butted heads, you know. But I don't think at any point that he should not be allowed to be on the internet. What he's doing is not dangerous. There's tens of people that find it interesting.
I never actually got involved. I never voiced an opinion or anything on the Unirock situation. And what's funny is I actually was listening to Unirock before I was ever listening to Team. When I first started, like, really listening.
Time the fuck out. No, it is not. It is not intellectually dishonest. And if you think so, you can fuck right off. Because when Dr. Dave is doing the exact same things that PayPal Patty did, that Long Island Audit did, that we would call out, and we call him out, that's not being intellectually dishonest. That is being intellectually consistent. You fucking idiot.
Right.
You don't like it? Fuck right off. Period.
Nick, it's quite simple. The individuals that he's gone after have never put on a website for all of their followers to go to and put it out there for everybody to go and mass report a channel. I have never done this.
That's quite literally against the
it's against terms of service. If Dave wants to lose his channel, that's the best way for him to do it, is start violating terms of service. And guess what? It says off platform as well. It says off platform behavior. Yep. So this whole, well, it's not on YouTube. No, it's off platform behavior. Yep. And they can do it. And because it's off platform, guess what? It means it affects YouTube. It'll affect Twitter. It'll affect his Instagram. It'll affect every social media platform he has, because you guys, Nick, and I'm calling you out and saying Nick. Because you're part of that little group. To do.
Bye, Nick. I don't have a problem with
people like you are doing stuff.
I'm sorry, team. I don't have a problem with people speaking their mind. I don't have a problem with people speaking out. But if you want to be a piece of shit, you can be a piece of shit somewhere else. Fuck off. Bye-bye. See ya. Go circle jerk yourself around somebody else. I don't give two shits. Okay. If one thing this past 2 weeks has taught me, I don't have to deal with bullshit like that. I'm not going to deal with bullshit like that. Speak your mind. Have no problem with that. This has always been a place to be able to do that. But if you're going to come in here and be intellectually dishonest yourself, fuck your mother. Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
Sorry, team. Go ahead.
No, I'm all right. Yeah, shit. Sitting back. I enjoy watching other people do what I do on a regular.
Yeah, I just don't have time for that. Connie Johnson for $5 says, "Hey ho, Johnny O, JLN Team 2." Thank you so much for that $5.
Hello.
I really appreciate it. Hey Angie, I saw you sneaking in there. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's just I don't put up with that shit. You don't come in here and fuck around. You want to come in here and express an opinion that's different than mine? More than welcome to do that. But don't sit there and try and accuse the people.
Well, you already knew where he stood. That's why I pointed out in that question. I was like, you can tell where this guy's already standing, because he started out by saying, "Oh, you guys are Dr. Dave haters too." When did we say we hated Dr. Dave? And at what point?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. but you're here to say that you Nick in the chat, you're like, "Oh, you guys are the problem, not Dr. Dave pulling this shit offline, not him. We're the problems." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Please explain.
Exactly. You can't explain because you can't explain that shit because it's unexplainable.
All we have to do to explain our side is point at the terms of service and say, "Here, read this."
Right.
I don't have to give an opinion and say my opinion is right on this. No, this is a direct violation of terms of service.
Yep. Brainy Beaver, you're right. We're not even talking about what he said before. We're talking about a terms of service violation. That's exactly right.
Aaron Reese put up, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Dr. Dave is supposed to be against First Amendment auditors for abusing the First Amendment. Then he does the same thing himself. It's absolutely hypocritical. That is hypocrisy of the finest caliber. It's, and I agree with whoever said it previously that Dave doesn't think that other people should be free to voice their opinions about him is the problem. And I talk some shit
I think the point is that it's not an opinion at this point. What's coming out is fact. They're playing back his videos. It's not like they're saying they're criticizing him. They're pointing out the hypocrisy in his videos, and they're showing what a piece of shit he is. Like, that's why he doesn't want it out. I'm sure if we were making Dr. Dave videos where we were all saying Dr. Dave's the greatest doctor of beer professing ever, then he would be like, yeah, let's let that one slide through. So it's not necessarily
Right.
that he doesn't want people to have an opinion about him or even an opinion on this about him. He does not want these facts to come to light.
Right.
Right. So here's the thing. Dr. Dave has a problem with people putting out videos using his old content, right?
Oh.
That speak against him. Now, what does
Aw.
Dr. Dave do on every single video he does?
Yeah. Puts out
He
other people's
uses
content.
Other people's content and comments on it, which is perfectly fine.
If you don't want people to do it, then pull it off your channel.
Oh
you don't,
yeah,
like-
but see, I'm sure with as much content as he puts out, right? But see, here's the problem with copyright. With copyright law, every case is subjective, right? So if you took every one of his videos, I'm sure there would be violations in there. You know, just because I'm sure there's times when he's used more than what was necessary, because a part of the copyright is to say you can only use what's necessary. You know, this is one of the reasons why I don't let videos run for 5 minutes and interject one little quick time and let it run for 5 more minutes.
Right.
That's not fair use. But it also, I wouldn't, if somebody did that to one of my videos, I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, okay, whatever. You know, you just played 5 minutes of my video. Thanks. You know?
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, like, I'm sure that you could find copyright violations in his entire, you know, library of everything he's done. You could find them just like you could find them in mine, just like you could find them in any reaction commentary channel that's out there. You're going to be able to find that because we ride that line of fair use. So for him to even say, for him to even go out and try to make a big deal about this shows his hypocrisy right there.
Right.
That he rides that line and he doesn't want anybody else to.
Right.
Because that is fair use, regardless of what he thinks. It's fair
Sure.
use.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Mia Mina says, "Do you know if he's even a PhD?" And I don't care. And I'm
He's
not
he's a prehistoric dinosaur is trying to
I'm-
hang out like little kids.
That
I'm
was
not-
this
hang on a
is
second,
always
hang
my
on a
point.
second,
No, that's hang on a second.
No,
Sit on this.
I need to finish answering this question. It's not that I'm not trying to be mean when I say I don't care. I you know, if he's not and he's purporting himself to be, then that's something he has to answer for somewhere else. But again, you know, having a moniker on YouTube, I don't necessarily put a whole lot into. Like PhD Tony, I know he's got a PhD because I'm his pal. We've spoken. I've seen, you know, his credentials. I know. There you go. I know the university.
Oh, my bad.
That's all right. So when I say that, Mia, I'm not trying to be mean. Anyway,
Hey,
JL,
I do have to get going. I gotta get going, guys.
Okay.
Let me say my byes. JL, I'm sorry if I cut you off many times tonight. You're
good, bud.
adorable at times.
Oh,
Johnny,
thank you. Appreciate it.
Topo Chico, por vida, señor.
see, it's
All right.
not
Is
the
that
hard one, though.
I was gonna ask you if that was hard or not. No. Hey, Topo Chico is very good. Regardless, both hard and soft. So.
I
All right. I made sense. I made sense. Johnny knows what I'm talking about. Jo, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Mm.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, you guys have a good night. I am about to go shower and then go to work because I have 8 hours of work tonight so that I can
you go.
have out content for the masses tomorrow.
Looking
Love
forward.
you guys.
All right, team.
Later,
Peace.
you.
First off, I'm very curious as to what Zachariah Hooper has because he offered his opinions on all three of us, and I'd love to hear.
I said yes.
I said yes. I want to hear that. And that was my big thing. Is when it comes down to it, and you talk about like gross individuals like this who do these things. Time really is and that was the main point of my response to it is that, he like the big thing about my video response to Dave was that he doesn't really have the time to be behaving this way because you typically want to cultivate friends towards the end, and I mean, he's getting up there, and if this is the way you want to spend your twilight years, then by all means go and do your thing. Time is on our side in this fact because eventually time will take care of that and it will go away of its own accord. It's nature's way. Just like, that guy Hot Topics made Eric Jewell, who can't keep my name out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And that I happened to catch one of his little videos popped up in my feed recently, and the dude's on an oxygen tank. And not to knock him, I mean that's just where he's at. But that you think about that. The guy is really, really old. He's declining in health. And this is how he spends his time being hateful on the internet. that's one of the saddest things I could possibly imagine. That this is where the culmination of his life, the 60, 70, whatever ever odd years of his life, from birth to the end, this is where his life is culminated. Right. Being angry at other people's opinions on the internet.
Sure.
And that is just sad.
Yeah, these are things you learn. I learned younger, right? 20 years ago, to not give a shit what people think about me, because you can sit there and worry all day. Look, no matter what you do, there's always going to be somebody out there who doesn't like you. It's always going to happen, no matter what. You can't not look. It's impossible to get everybody to like you. It's impossible. Okay, not even Jesus had everybody liking him.
What do you think about Jesus? I'm 50-50.
But no, here's the thing. Say what you want to say about me. That's fine. I don't care. Water off the gas.
He was crucified by his own people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what am I talking about? Yeah. He didn't exist.
Oh, geez. Now you're starting to get... Anyway, Steamy Cup of Reason, I do see you there. Hello, I want to say hi to you because I know there's how much will you pay me to become a channel member? 25 cents. I'm just kidding, of course.
Knowledge is priceless.
Yeah. H. Madison said, spoiler alert, come on. There you are. But no, here's the thing. At the end of the day, Dr. Dave is free to think, say, do whatever he likes. I don't care.
Yeah.
Say what you want. Call JL a big old fat bear. Call me a big old fat bear lover. I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
But in my community, that's a compliment.
That's a compliment. But no, seriously, I don't care. I don't care. You know, if he was, I'm glad Sorting never had drama. He just kept getting sued. Sort of. He kept getting sued, kind of. I mean, he had people saying they were going to sue him, but it never happened because they just can't do it. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's silly to get upset about what, especially if they're using your shit against you. Like when they're posting, hey, look, this is what you said. Here it is. Here's you saying it. You know, that whole, did you say these things did you say these things? Not in that context. Well, I don't know what other context you could say these things. There's no other context that, like, using homophobic slurs. There's no context in which that's okay. You know what I mean? And it's not like you're trying to say, hey, look, by the way, you said this. That's a homophobic slur. That in context, okay, I guess that would be the one time that I wouldn't, whatever. But when you sit there and talk about all these critical race theory people are this way because of this and that and because they're gay and all that, just like, get the fuck out of here. Just dumb. Again, free to say it. Say whatever you want. Don't care. Don't care. Do what you do. Whatever makes you happy, Dr. Dave, do it. Okay? Just stop violating terms of service on YouTube, number one, and stop false copyright striking people because they put a video out about you. Who cares? My goodness, you're too old for this shit. You really are. You really are too old for this shit. Aren't you supposed to be retired? Enjoy your retirement. Go make fun of Glenn Stereo. Go spread all of your bullshit. Just let people. Oh, God, yeah, it's just irritating. Just irritating. Is in one breath you'll criticize PayPal Patty, and in the next breath you'll do exactly what PayPal Patty has done. Anyway. Zachary Hooper says, I'm not a racist, but insert group name followed by some fucked up stereotype. Yeah, exactly. Vixter T says, just don't be a dingleberry. Exactly. Don't be a dingleberry because you might end up on the dingleberry list. Let me put it this way. He didn't give a shit about the drama. Yeah, Schrodinger's cat was probably the least I don't give a fuck the most I don't give a fuck when it comes to anybody on YouTube or social media. Hey, Schrodinger, so-and-so, I don't care. Hey, this guy said, I don't care. Hey, this guy's suing you. Okay, sue me. Just didn't give a shit. So it was great. You need to draw a line under some people's opinion at the plot hole unless they're being destructive of others. Like I said, here's the thing. And Tony, I know that you and I might kind of disagree on the particulars of what I'm about to say, but I don't think I would much rather you, not you, Tony, but you in general, say all the racist stuff you want to say, because at least I know who and what you are. So much easier. My grandfather taught me that years ago. Years ago. My grandfather was Mexican American who fought in World War II and came back to bars that no N words, dogs, or Mexicans allowed. Dealt with racism his entire life, and he said, "Look, I would much rather I would much rather them be able to say what they want to say, because then I know exactly who they are." And he's right. He's right. Say what you want, but. If someone tells a joke and looks both ways before they tell it, the joke's racist. Sometimes. JL's in. I don't know what he's doing over there. He's.
I was looking. I was actually on Twitter real quick, and I was basically contacting Team YouTube. Is pretty much what it was. I was doing my part. I'd like to know more.
Mystery Soft Sit Theater says, "I got Klingons." Well,
what was Zachariah's opinion of us?
He loves us all.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Chile says, "Have you guys ever watched Denver Metro Audits?" I think so. I think I've seen a couple of his stuff, and I thought about doing a video on him or on that channel once or twice, but nothing really said, "Hey, Prime, good to see you, brother." So how's everyone? My night has been actually pretty good. I went to yesterday, I left out of here to wrap a shoot, and it was the 12-hour overnight shoot because it was all night scenes, and that was fun. For those of you who don't know, I gaffed this production, and it was a 7-day production, a lot of fun. The project it's an interesting project. I can't really say much about it because NDAs and all that stuff, whatever. But it was a lot of fun, gotta say. But last night we were shooting from 6 until, like I said, I got home at 10:30 this morning. So it was long, and I took about an hour and a half lay down, and then boom, here we are. Went to the gym right after I got up. Well, not right after I got up, but a few hours after I got up, went to the gym, and my goodness, my trainer was he looked at me and said, "Oh, so you've got no sleep, huh? Good. It's time to really work." And fucking hell, did he make me do all the things I never thought I could do. He beat me up, little bastard. You ever get those trainers? I don't know if you've ever had trainers. You've had trainers before.
Not outside of school. I've never needed one.
Right. So I don't know if you guys have ever had trainers that you can tell they enjoy like beating you up. And he's a young kid, right? He's in his 20s.
Oh, yeah.
He's in his 20s. Like, looking at I'm going to whoop this old man's ass. And I keep telling him, I was like, man, if I were 20 years younger, I'd whip your ass right now. But I can't. He just laughs. Because he knows it's true. He's like, ha, ha, ha. But yeah, man, like I said. And then tomorrow is I got to be at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'll be right back at the gym. So in 12 hours from now, I'll be back at the gym for round 2. Lots of fun. But yeah. Star Wars Celebration. Ooh, it's almost that time. Just under a month.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Looking forward to that.
Oh,
I really haven't slept yet. Oh, excuse me. That's the reason for the yawning. But yeah, I really haven't slept yet. But I am looking forward to seeing what happens when I actually lie down tonight. I'm probably going to knock out really quick, which is something I haven't done. Brainy Beaver. I don't know if you guys have seen Brainy Beaver's video. Chili, talking about Chili pooped himself. Part of it as he was working on it. And
I wish I could get, I mean, I get it, frauditors and, a-holes like that, just idiots. The dude like Chili is just obnoxious to me. No.
Here's a problem with Chili. He's not just obnoxious. He's a scam artist. Getting people to sign our POAs over to him so he can represent them in court. That's not how that works.
That's very weird. And he's not, he hasn't passed the bar in all the,
Last time I hired an attorney, I didn't have to sign a power of attorney over to my attorney.
No, you shouldn't. And I mean, obviously, you don't have to, but you can't practice law. It doesn't matter who it is. The only person who can practice law is an appointed attorney who has passed the bar. That's why they practice law in a state. That's why lawyers have to pass the bar in different states,
right,
to practice in different states. If he has not passed the bar in any state, he cannot represent anybody, no matter what power of attorney he's got. Which I don't understand why, either people don't. I don't understand why people don't understand that. That's like legit. That's like common knowledge. Yeah, you can sign over power of attorney for someone to make legal decisions for you regarding your money and regarding things like that. So you take control of your bank accounts and your wills and everything. But when it comes to representation in court, the court will only recognize a person who is legally allowed to practice law, just like passing the bar, just like, passing your MCATs. It's like you do. And no, not even that. Not even being a licensed doctor. It's having privileges at a hospital. Just because you're a doctor, I'm a doctor. Like, I have my MD, I have my PhD or whatever like this. It does not mean I can walk into any hospital and just start. It doesn't work that way. You have to be granted privileges based upon your history. And so, if you get granted privileges, that's fantastic. You're great. But no, that's not the way. And of course, he's banking on this, and that needs to be exposed. People need to call him out for that. But or at least try to. I don't know. It's insane.
Yeah, that whole business about. I forget who I was talking to, but somebody was talking about this whole situation, and whereas, like, if I wanted to fix my car. Right. And I watched a YouTube video or something about how to do that. Okay, that's fine. Right.
Right. I've done it a couple of times.
Right. Sure, exactly. Yeah. Right. My car, but I'm not going to go out to tell I'm a mechanic. Hey, I'm a mechanic because I watched a YouTube video or I read a book about being a mechanic. That's not how that works. Okay. I'm going to go when I want a doctor, when I want somebody to, perform surgery on me. I want a practiced physician, a practiced surgeon. I don't want some guy who read a bunch of books. Sorry. I want somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing. And this Chili guy. Oh, I've read books. I've read the law. I've studied. Okay.
Okay, see, my problem with this is the biggest issue.
Absolutely, Raven Darkstar.
This is it's not the same as a legal attorney. This is true. Power of attorney just is about control over your assets and to make decisions in the event that you are incapacitated. And that you can't do anything. But if you sign over power of attorney when you are still capable of making decisions, that person can wrest control of your assets away from you because they have the right to make decisions. So, like, legitimately, if someone has power of attorney over you and you've signed that away, this is an extreme circumstance, that fucker could sell your house out from underneath you.
Yep.
And put you in a home. Okay. Power of attorney is very powerful when it comes to making decisions about your life, not about representing you in court.
Right.
And the fact that there are people out there that don't get that is extremely dangerous. But this is why I have a problem with it. Yes, Chili is an idiot. Chili doesn't understand the law. He doesn't understand the Constitution. He's literally he had his 15 minutes of fame, and he's running with it and trying to hold on to it, doing the best he can, and he's grifting people for money. And I get that. The guy is he's trash. The problem is when looking at the bigger picture of his behavior, small picture wise, he's just going to get himself in trouble. He's going to wind up getting sued, or he's going to wind up getting on the wrong side of the law, and he's going to wind up doing 15 to 25 for either fraud, for like felonious fraud or grand larceny or something of that nature. Something's going to happen. But the problem is the long-term effects of what someone like Chili does.
Right. This is there are a lot of repercussions to abuse of power of attorney. So that is true. That is true. It's not like you just give carte blanche to whoever to do whatever they want. If they abuse it, they can be held accountable for that abuse. So that is true. We got to make sure and get all that information in there.
So the problem is the long-term effects, and the long-term effects of what Chili is doing is not that he's going to have any effect on the legal system. Chili is not going to change anything. He's not going to overturn anything. He's not going to overturn stop and frisk. He's not going to overturn any kind of legal precedent, because Things like that get overturned when you are a lawyer and you are in a court of law and you get a precedent set. Or
Right.
if you go to, or if you argue it to the Supreme Court and then you get it set, and then the Supreme Court sets the precedent. That's how you get these things changed. You making YouTube videos is not going to change anything. Okay. You have to actually get out there and do the work, which is what, like me and individuals who on my channel, I'm not going to affect any change in legislation and ensure that our rights are protected against a religious infringement
Or
I'm not
any
going-
infringement, any type
or
of
any kind of infringement. I'm not going to protect it by yammering on my YouTube channel. So I go out in the world and I talk to lawmakers and I actually engage in the community and try to be aware of what's going on so we can try and stop this and try to let people know we don't want this. This is a violation. We need to vote against this. So that's how you affect change. Or if you want to do it from the inside, you become a politician or you become a lawyer or you go out and do the work. The problem with this is the long-term effects of this is that his behavior will eventually, in order to count, people will be, the law will begin to see how dangerous it is. And to countermand the damaging effects of his behavior requires changes in the law to ensure that people like him can't do it anymore. This is the slippery slope that Chili doesn't realize he's on.
right.
If you continuously abuse the First Amendment and you show how it can be abused, there is a tipping point. Now, to quote like Picard, Next Generation, the price of freedom is vigilance. We must remain vigilant to those that would attempt to use our rights as powers to steal them away from us or abuse them. That's the price we pay. We have to stay vigilant. But the law has a tipping point. Eventually, the law will say we have to make an exception because this is just too damaging. Because that basically the First Amendment has opened up the possibility for people to do things like Chili is doing and take advantage of people and pass misinformation and literally get people to sign over power of attorney. And eventually, if it becomes too egregious, there will be restrictions in place. He doesn't realize, and for some reason doesn't get, that by going out and doing what he's doing, I'm for the First Amendment, by that rallying cry will be his death knell.
Yes.
Because what he is doing will ultimately culminate in losing the right to do it because of how he is applying it. He is his own worst enemy.
So,
but the problem is when those laws get passed, they affect us all.
So that's what two things I wanted to bring out. So Beach 8 says Chili was critiquing a Supreme Court oral argument the other day. He was telling everyone that the argument was a law when the court hadn't made a decision yet. And yeah, that's not how that works. And Judy, you got this also brings up Arizona is looking at passing laws to restrict First Amendment frauditors to protect police, but that means my rights will be limited, which is exactly what I've been saying. Schrodinger's cat, all these people who cover these frauditors have been saying this. Like, you guys are doing this shit, and it's going to be counterproductive. Excuse me, counterproductive to what you want to happen. And on that note, I want to say a huge hello and welcome to one of my
three of us.
Yeah,
Three and one
we got three
favorite people in the world.
Could we get a fourth?
Tony. I don't know if we can get a fourth. It's
Uh,
way or late.
Time zones are a problem. How are you two fine gentlemen today?
We are doing very well. I am so happy to see that your beard is back.
Yes.
Been more comfortable with it since being ill. I don't have a lot of energy, so screw it. Yes, I just had sort of responding to JL's point. Why people respond to Chili? For me, he has a lot in common with young Earth creationists and flat earthers, and I mean they fall into two broad categories, right? There are the sincere believers and there are the scam artists, right? Kent Hovind, scam artist. Scam artist. Nathan Oakley, scam artist.
Right.
But there are also the sincere ones that get dragged further and further into this. But their approach is all the same. Society relies on three fundamental principles: trust, communication, and cooperation. And what do all of these groups have in common? They don't trust anyone. They don't cooperate with anyone. And they try to sabotage the process of communication. They don't agree to, interpret what other people are saying. They don't agree to extend understanding to people with attitudes that disagree with their own. They don't have tolerance for that. So, these are all expressions of the same antisocial impulse. And society can't actually tolerate that. Society has to address that. And so while they seem different superficially because they're talking about different things, they're all basically using the same intellectual model, which is antisocial behavior, and justifying their antisocial behavior by refusing to cooperate and refusing to communicate and just not trusting anybody apart from themselves. And then getting outraged when they get challenged on their trustworthiness. Anyway, I just wanted to sort of throw that out for JL to.
No, that's absolutely correct. Really quick, Jenabella, expectation versus reality for 20 Canadians is not positive, but up here in Ontario, Canada, I think you have to go to university for 7 years to become an attorney, and the bar exam is a 9-hour exam. Reading books or watching YouTube doesn't say you comprehend anything. And it's roughly the same here in the States, between 6 and 8 years, depending on which programs and if you want to do specialized law, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's about, I wouldn't be surprised if it were like that in Canada, because it's going to be about universal just about anywhere you go when you're talking about practicing law, becoming an actual attorney, because you got your pre-law degree, then you go to law school, and then, again, so
I know in some states the bar exam is like 3 days.
Yeah, some states ridiculous. 2 of my cousins in California became lawyers in Los Angeles, and they had to go through a very grueling process. So
yeah, passing your LSATs and you're just like being a doctor passing your MCATs. That's not a joke. I mean, that shit is hard, hard, and not to mention then it's even harder when you for doctors when you want to get board certified, because then you have to go in front of real big time experts, and they will posit you all these situations that you have to deal with, see if you can be board certified, and you have to put in so many hours and do all this stuff, and being board, and specializing in a particular law, whether it would be corporate law or tax law or constitutional law or wherever, even or criminal law, which I've heard is an absolute nightmare. It's not just something. I've read Black's law book and I'm a lawyer now. It's like, this is not Futurama.
Yeah,
it's not the way it works.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, I do atheist content. Just because I spent the vast majority of my youth, and I grew up in the Christian church, does not make me an authority on Islam or Judaism or anything like that. I had to go and I had to study a long time to learn all that crap. And it's the same thing. So
but does that mean you're a qualified member of divinity? No.
Exactly. Far from it.
Well, but just because you've done your research and say, there's a reason why. Like, I could do the same amount of research and work that PhD Tony did, right? I could do the exact same amount.
Yeah, it's true.
But
read all the same books, do all the same stuff. Yeah,
but it doesn't make me a PhD. There's a reason. There's a process you got to follow, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't say, hey, I'm a glacial isostatic adjustment guy because I read the same books that PhD Tony read. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and there's more to it than just reading, right? This is
exactly
right. This is one of the things. Like you've got to develop positive skills. You've got to be able to do stuff. So it's and the same applies to these other professions that you've talked about. Being a doctor, being a lawyer, these actually involve skills,
right?
And it's not just a matter of sort of. I am at the moment working through my box set of Law and Order, because I love that show. Doesn't make me a lawyer.
What's fun
Nor does it make you a cop.
If you watch the channel Legal Eagle, and I love his content and everything he comments on, I like this. But
I know what you're about to say.
When he goes back and looks at Law and Order, it's like, wow, this is like really dramatic. It's like, it's not like this in any.
Not at all.
This is not what reality is like. And I love when those moments they got to get the close up of Sam Waterston or like walking up, or Michael Moriarty coming up and like talking to you. It's like, you don't just get to step into the well like that. It's not the way it works, but it looks.
You don't get to physically intimidate the witness.
Exactly.
Right.
You can't get up on the witness like that.
It's against practice. But wasn't he the one who also said, and wasn't Legal the one who also said that my cousin Vinny was pretty accurate when it comes to
was one of his favorites in his depictions. And it's like, and he was like, don't say this to the judge. Like, you know, that the fact that he got hit with contempt so many times, like, yeah, that will happen.
That will happen.
You will spend the night in jail. But and I dig that in that respect. But I have to say, as much as terrible as it would be, I would love to see, because at least not like with a doctor, there's lives like legitimately on the line. I would like to see Chili try to argue something in a court of law, like be behind that desk. Yeah. I want to see him. I want to see all the legal infractions he's going to make when he tries to step into the well. He tries to approach the witness. He tries to like walk up to the judge. He doesn't stand. You know, like I want to see just all the little faux pas he makes all over the place.
Before I welcome Aaron Reese to the show, there was another one that was very similar. What was that one? Was with the Rainmaker, right? When Matt Damon gets up there and. Not Matt. Yeah, it's Matt Damon, but he's a brand new lawyer, and he doesn't know procedure. You know what I mean? He doesn't know what he's supposed to do, where he's supposed to stand, how he's supposed to. You know, you can't just approach like the judge stopped. You can't just approach the witness. You have to ask. Yeah, you have to. You know, there's a procedure that you have to follow.
Permission to treat the witness as hostile. You have to clear it with the judge. So.
Yeah, so we should let Aaron say some stuff, but I just wanted to quickly interject that this is one of the things, you know, about the jurisdiction argument that they keep on bringing up. Yes, there are strict regulations governing jurisdiction. That burden has already been met. That's why you're in this court. And if you want to challenge it, fine, but you know the fact that they're not giving you the evidence you want is not actually evidence that they don't have jurisdiction over you. It's evidence that you just don't understand the regulations involved in establishing jurisdiction. That's what that shows. Anyway.
All right, Abe, what you doing over there, buddy?
Nothing. Just finally ate real food today. It was pretty awesome.
Robots don't generally eat real food.
You got the new disposal.
You can only eat your mom.
That's terrible.
No, just come on, talk about Chili, because I've caught a fair bit of his stuff, and he is just a magical combination of a con man and a complete idiot. And the terrible thing is, he will get caught and he will get jailed to one degree or another. But all these people that he's ripped off will not get a cent of their money back, because he's not going to have a damn bit of it by the time he's done.
Oh no, yeah.
Well, if they signed over power of attorney and they did it legally, they have no recourse.
They have none.
And the law will be like, yeah, we can fight this, but it's long. Now you're looking at legal hours. You're looking at time in court. You're looking at all the red tape that he could throw at you. You're looking at continuances like Lancerio is currently doing, where it's just like continuance after continuance after continuance. And then it takes forever, and it takes time, it takes money, it takes energy, and it just drains you. And that's what he's banking on. So
yeah, these people too are low income. They're low income, low education. They couldn't afford to fight a cold. And there are rules as to when you can and can't use power of attorney to do certain things. Like, you can generally use it to get bank information just whenever. I've worked for a bank and got to answer plenty of those calls, and they're a pain in the butt pulling up power of attorney. But as far as pulling money, like, you can only do that under certain circumstances, but he'll get that money and it'll be gone. I don't know if he's smart enough to ferret it away, but I guarantee he'll spend it out. He's going to supposedly run this campaign in Ohio to become governor. He's supposedly moving to Ironton and going to run for governor of Ohio, which I don't even know how long you have to be there to be a resident, but you also have to have a co-candidate for your vice governor. What sort of idiot is going to run with this guy, but somebody even stupider and more ridiculous? And then I think he is running a scam, because I sent you that clip where he's talking about power of attorney, and then, you know, you could pull bank statement, or you could pull the bank account information, and then he walks it back. But then on top of that, they made the stop of him, and he completely reversed Pennsylvania versus Mims, where the ruling is the cop can tell you to get into or out of the vehicle without reason at any time. And he thought it read that he could get into and out of it as he pleased, and the cop couldn't tell him. So he is just that stone stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he desperately I mean, he's the Banky fucking Edwards joke. He walks around wearing the thing that looks like the jacket over the hoodie with the headphones around his head, like he's somewhere on set. And he's just trying to live that up as the documentarian. And he does not have the standards of a documentarian.
He had his 15 minutes. If you look back into his past work, he had his 15 minutes and he lost it.
Mhm.
And it, like it said, it doesn't happen for everybody. You know, you get your 15 minutes and then it goes away. It happens. It happens to a lot of people. The vast majority, don't have any kind of longevity in the entertainment industry. He had his 15 minutes. He got a taste of it. He wants it. But the problem is he's a piece of shit and nobody really likes him and he's a grifter. And they can see that. There's a reality of it.
Well, so there's some people who've mentioned it in the side chat. By the way, hello, Atangelo. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing very well. You're catching the ire of my good buddy PhD Tony here. I can see the look on his face. I saw the expression on PhD Tony's face change, and I immediately looked for your name specifically in the side chat, and I found it. So
I have something about that. I just want to
hang on really quick. Raven Darkstar says, any idea how Glenn is getting all these continuances? Yes, he's doing the same thing that any one of us could do. So he's not getting any special treatment or special circumstance. It's just the way that the law is written.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has so many things pending actually works in his favor.
Right.
And they're all tied together too, because they were lucky that they moved back the hearing on whether they're going to revoke his deferment or not, because he had to make it 5 months and he couldn't make it 5 months, and they were going to wait till they heard for the first crime that was going to be tried, and they moved that back on him, and that was a fortunate circumstance. But all of his crap's tied together.
That's the big thing. I mean, eventually, even though you can file for continuances and if you have mitigating circumstances or whatever, you can do that. There does come a point in time where the judge can just deny it.
Yeah.
And be like, no more continuances. I see here on the record you have 9. There's you don't need that many. You should have gotten your shit together.
So
Time to appear in court. And if he doesn't show up, bench warrant, you get to go to jail until your hearing shows up. So.
Yeah. Here's the thing with what Glenn has done, right? He hasn't done anything that is that egregious. He's a pain in the ass, don't get me wrong. But nothing, he's not like wanted for, armed robbery or, murder or anything like that. He's a nuisance.
I don't know, jerking his hand like that on that one officer was
lucky they get shot.
I mean, I would almost have thought he was trying to martyr himself for his cause. And I'm like,
suicide by police officer. Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, do you hate yourself that much? It's
maybe.
Like, well,
everybody else does.
I've seen I've seen the pants he wears.
Well, that's the thing I'm wondering, and this is going to kind of show, which it differs department to department. A lot of it is budgeted hours, things like that. Is if you become a pain in the butt, even if you're committing minor crimes, is it worth it for them to just put you in jail? Same thing with judges hearing. You put in motion after motion after motion, and they don't want to deal with it. And at a point, it's okay. You're almost an example where they're going to say, yes, you committed all this minor stuff, but we're going to punish you to try to put an end to this. Because when I worked loss prevention, it was that same thing with money. They didn't want you to stop low-price people, but if you took and you stole a soda every day for 3 months, you were going to jail because it's lost profit over time.
Right.
So he may well be at that point where they're just so tired, because I know they've got the thing that they've circulated. Well, it's in the system where he is listed as being problematic and possibly violent towards officers.
Yeah, when every police officer in the state that you reside in knows you by name.
Yeah. He's lucky that, I mean, he's only pulling this crap because he's in Washington. And it's not to say anything that Washington is bad. Washington law enforcement has a reputation for being quite lenient. They're very I would say public minded. They don't want, they try not to make things super, super difficult. They're not hard on people. They don't come off like a totalitarian, authoritarian, jackbooted thugs. They don't. They really try to work with the public to create and foster a trust between the people and law enforcement, because it works to their benefit. If he tried to pull this crap in Texas, there's no way. There's not a Texas judge alive that would let this swing. As a matter of fact, He's lucky he hasn't run into a judge that wants to make it. He's like, oh, if that came up on my docket and I was judged, like, someone who wants to be made an example of. Then we're just, and he, then we're just going to forego. We're going to go right to it. Does he want to go to a bench trial or go to a jury? We're going to a bench trial. Fantastic. Guilty in all counts, maximum sentence.
Right.
Enjoy your time, sir.
He is going to get to the point where that will happen. I mean, he is pushing the envelope and pushing the envelope. You're exactly right. He will be he will be held accountable if he continues this. It's going to happen. Eventually, the judge is going to be like, you know what? I don't care that you've got 5 pending charges. On this charge, I'm finding you guilty. You're going to serve your time, be it 5 days, be it 10 days, be it a month, be it a year, whatever it is. Yeah, this is it. You violated your probation or your parole, or not parole, it's probation. It's not you violated your probation. Go to jail. Suffer the consequences.
Right. To go with Tony, I'm really sorry that you have a piece of Otangela stuck to your shoe and it's following you wherever you go. I'm assuming this is
this is a continuation. So I appeared on Gutsick Gibbon.
Gotcha. That's what I figured. Yeah,
Gutsick Gibbon's channel the other day, and Otangelo came in with nonsense, and he seems to be obsessed with this particular argument, but and he's doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing with a lot of flat earthers. Stephen Crowder does the same thing. Stephen Crowder will claim that biology supports his stance on abortion. If that were true, then every professional biologist on the face of the planet would agree with your interpretation. That isn't true. So what you're claiming is just false. You can't cite scientific literature and the authors of that literature don't agree with you. No, Otangelo, I have actually had a look at the paper, and what the authors say is that they don't know how the material could have been preserved for 500 million years. That is not the same thing as saying that it can't happen. That is saying that the procedure that they've developed is cannot account for this. But that's very different also, because that material is not actually biological material from the original dinosaur. That is transformed material from the original dinosaur that is still flexible, that is still soft. That's a different thing. It's not actually the biological material from the original sample. So even if the authors were absolutely firm in their assertion that there's no way this material can survive for more than 500 whatever, the time frame that you came up with, which I think must be wrong.
Talking about like the 500,000 years at a particular temperature.
Yeah. But the that would be in its current form, right? That would apply to the time that it's taken to reach its current form and be in its current form. But it is absolutely unscientific to say that something we observe cannot possibly survive as long as it demonstrably did. It must have survived that long. We know how long it survived. So to say that we know all of the physical processes that might have occurred and we've excluded them all, that's not true, right? That cannot be true. If it were true, every single paleontologist, every single physicist, every single scientist would accept, oh, well, we were wrong about the age of the Earth, because we've got no skin in the game, right? Science is all about admitting mistakes.
Well, that's the basis of science. It's trying to falsify your position.
It's fighting the prevailing theory is this, and then the objective of everyone else in that field is to knock that theory down and make it better.
That's exactly right. So
trying to improve
scientists they're gluttons for punishment, right?
They're bounty hunters is what they are. That's what they want.
The way that this shit works is I come up with a theory. Now, and again, a theory is let's put it this way. Let's stop with I'll come up with a hypothesis. Right? Because that's what you assholes who use theory, that's what you mean. You mean hypothesis. I'll come up with a hypothesis. And I'll say, whatever, X plus Y equals Z because of 9 to the nth power. Boom, here's my evidence. Here's my experimentation. Here you go, Tony. Here it is. And Tony's very first very first thought is, how can I disprove this? Period.
Yeah.
That's
They
what
see it.
science does.
Well,
And
they
if
see
Tony
it as
can't disprove it, if Tony says, well, I've tried every which way, it's whatever, boom. I have to agree with this. I have to agree with this because I can't prove it wrong. And then he gives it over to JL. And JL says, all right, cool. How can I prove this wrong?
Yeah.
That's what science does. They want to prove. They're the biggest skeptics, the real skeptics. No, this is wrong. How is it wrong? Well, maybe it's not wrong. You know what I mean? That's what they do.
I did want to share with Tony, and that you'll find this interesting, that as aggravating as conversations with Otangelo can be, and I'm assuming that the whole thing that he's basically basing on this, that he is misrepresenting Mary Schweitzer, and because they consistently go back to the Mary Schweitzer stuff about soft tissue and dinosaurs. They are misreading, they are misinterpreting the information. It is not like soft tissue that you find like in a living organism was found. It's polymerized, is essentially what it is. There's a lot more data and we don't need. I just you're misrepresenting Mary Schweitzer. Mary Schweitzer is not a young Earth creationist. She does not hold that the Earth is super young. She agrees that the dinosaur she was working on, the Tyrannosaurus specifically she was working on, was 66 million years old. That's where the question came from. And Jack Horner was looking over her shoulder when she made that discovery, and she was like looking at it like, this is not possible. How is this possible? And then, she's like, this shouldn't be. And then Jack Horner was like, tell me why. Why shouldn't it be? And that's where the inquiry started. And that's in her own words. I'm quoting her when I talk about that. The same crap came up with Eric Jewell, who tried to do the same thing. But I wanted Tony to know that Otangelo showed up on a stage that we do. We do a bi-weekly stage over on Discord that we bring people on and talk to them about their gods, whatever they believe in, stuff like this. So Otangelo came on the stage and actually through the course of conversation with myself and the course of conversation with King Xerxes, actually admitted he has to go do more work when it comes to understanding his Bible and his religion. Because he's focused so much on trying to knock down evolution that he really can't defend his God or anything of that nature, which is, I find interesting and weird. Right. But we actually got him to admit that he needs to go and do more work and actually apply more energy to this. So he's capable of doing this.
How about instead of doing more work into reading and interpreting the Bible, he'd do more work reading and interpreting science? He's clearly not qualified to correctly interpret the papers he's reading.
Right.
And this is no offense, Otangelo. Very few people are qualified to correctly interpret the papers that you're reading. The fact that you misinterpreted the contents of the paper is no surprise to anyone, whatever. But you don't get to run around publicly talking about how I misinterpreted this paper. Science says this. No, science doesn't. It doesn't say what you're claiming, and what you're doing is lying. And this again gets back to one of the reasons that I was forced to admit that God cannot exist and be moral is that Christians who claim to be in communication with God go out and lie all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to address this. Otangelo, just because you quoted something doesn't mean that A, you got the quote correctly, B, you understood the quote, or C, extrapolated the necessary conclusion of said quote.
Or you got the whole thing.
Right. So I can go and quote, geez, I forget who it is who said something about Hitler and whatnot. Does that mean that this person is a Hitler supporter? Not necessarily. It's all in context. You said hang on a second. Hang on one second, Tony. I'll turn this right over to you.
Breathe, Tony. Breathe.
Earlier, you said something about data. Well, there's an issue with that. Data is just information. 1 + 1 = 2. That's data. That's just information. What does that mean? 1 + 1 what? Equals 2 what? There's more to understanding scientific information, scientific paper, scientific data than being able to quote mine data points. Period. Skits Crasher for $2 says, hello, Johnny O. Hello, Skits Crasher. And then for another $2 says, hello, JL. Thank you so much. And then for another $2 says, hello, PhD Tony.
Hello, Skid Scratcher.
Oh man, we could have gone for the 4. We could have gone for the if we had Irish Steven. It could have been the other Bearsmen together again. But this comes into something
Scratcher,
very,
you
very
son of a bitch. Where's my tube?
So this,
I see you in the chat weekly, dude.
Tangelo, this is the same problem that we have had when you and I discussed. Number one, it has to be pointed out that you have refused to debate me ever again in the future because you exposed your intellectual dishonesty or your bad faith position when you said that you will not argue evolution and young Earth. You will not argue that with other Christians because it doesn't matter because young Earth, because Christians already got the message of Christ and all that other stuff. So you let them believe in those things, and that's okay. So you come after atheists thinking that we base our atheism solely upon things like the age of the Earth and scientific concepts, which is not the case. That is intellectually dishonest. It's a misrepresentation of what atheism is, and it's a misrepresentation of yourself as a Christian, because if you held these things to be true, you would hold your fellow Christians to the fire as much as you hold atheists to the fire, and you don't. That is a bad faith position. You are not worth debating. That's the point. When I pointed this out, you said you would no longer debate me ever again. So, but still, you came up on the stage and you discussed with us. And we had a very interesting discussion about how your fine-tuning argument does not work. And I explained how it didn't work, and you got it, which is wild. You understood what we were saying there. You can't draw the conclusions that you're making, but you can't even – we don't have, like Tony said one time, we do not have the mathematical functions to try and derive odds from a sample size of 1. It doesn't work that way. So yes, Otangelo, you are misrepresenting science. You are misrepresenting atheism. You are misrepresenting yourself as a Christian, and you consistently do this. You're doing this now in the chat when you did something completely different on the stage in Discord this past Sunday. You keep like taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, and 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, indicating that you're not learning from what you're doing, or you don't care, or you're just doing it for the clicks because you like the negative attention. This has become so obvious and apparent that nobody. It's kind of like Darth. Okay, we've gotten so tired of Darth, we've moved on to J. Robin because Darth is old. It's tired. It's pointless. It's nothing
but J.
new.
Robin is just a carbon copy of.
It's a carbon copy, but
really quick, a Skid Scratcher for $2 says, "Hello, Aaron."
There you go.
And then Nemo 813 for $5 says, "I can quote Terrence Howard's theory that 1 × 1 = 2, but that doesn't make it true." Exactly.
Well,
This is
that's-
exactly what we're talking about.
That's different from what Otangelo is doing. What Otangelo is doing is he's cherry picking, he's quote mining from a paper, and then he's applying his interpretation to that quote. He's ignoring the context around that quote, and he himself is not actually well qualified to correctly interpret what scientists say. So no, Otangelo. And again, you've just completely ignored the argument as presented. We know with your 200 winning the lottery 200 times, we know what the probability distribution function is for winning the lottery. We have no idea what the probability distribution function for universes is because we've only got a sample size of 1. It's and you can't. You can say, well, why did they work out? Why did all these variables work out? Well, you don't know that if they worked out differently, life wouldn't have emerged in some other form. And B, you don't know that the universe worked out this way because it had no alternative. Just the laws of physics work that way because that's the way the laws of physics are. The fine-tuning argument doesn't work. And again, if it did work, it would be established scientific reality that the universe was created.
So
just to clarify, I have to get this last bit out real fast. Just get this last little bit out like that. Otangelo, you still have not recognized, or seem to be incapable of recognizing, that abiogenesis, evolution, and your God concept. Okay, these things are not mutually exclusive. Abiogenesis and evolution can be true, and God could still exist.
Right.
Okay, these could be the processes by which God did these things. You still cannot wrap your head around the fact that they are not mutually exclusive. All right, your fellow Christians,
that's the thing that kills me. That thing kills me the most. Just because evolution is a thing doesn't mean that God doesn't exist.
Right. These are, like I said, you can hold both positions. The vast majority, over 70% and growing members of your Christian faith, they accept these things because they understand it. 2, young Earth creation is not a thing. Young Earth creation is, young Earth is not a thing. We know the age of the Earth. We know it because we have independently verified the age of it. Uranium to lead dating, uranium-237 to lead-208 dating, okay? Found in zircon crystals. We understand how zircon crystals form. We understand how they repel. We understand how they repel lead atoms and that they attract uranium atoms. We've independently confirmed this from samples taken off the moon. The moon is not tectonic, is not tectonic, okay? The moon surface is the moon surface, will always be the moon surface, unlike Earth, which is constantly changing. So when we take samples from the moon and we independently verify the same data that we get here on Earth, boom, that is how we verify the model. That is how we know the age of the Earth and the age of the moon. And we can extrapolate that to the age of the freaking solar system and the universe itself, judging by what we know about light and other planetary formation, stuff like that. That's that point. And third, and the last thing, Combat Wombat, thank you very much for the heads up and all the work you did. I appreciate it. I saw you pop in there. Thank you.
Yes, hi, Combat
Well,
Wombat.
I would say that even if you threw out every radiometric date available, and you would know this had you actually watched and learned from my presentation on Guts of Gibbon, we have an abundance of other dating techniques that are similarly simply incompatible with the young Earth creationist. At Angelo, we know that they've been constant because there's no evidence. There's no evidence that radioactive rates can change. There's some evidence for lithium-7, but lithium-7 isn't real. Lithium-7 to beryllium-6 or lithium-7 to beryllium-7, I think it is. That decay is by electron capture, but that's not used in radioactive decay dating. There's no evidence that such a thing is possible. You need to prove that it's possible before we have to consider the possibility. And if it weren't, if there were changes, things wouldn't make sense. We use radiometric dating to direct mineral exploration programs. Mineral companies pay handsomely for a variety of geochronological techniques to be applied so that they can work out the geometry of the mineral-bearing systems that they're considering, so that they can work out where their best chance of finding those minerals is. They would not spend the money on this if this was not reliable, if this did not work.
Right.
And again, we have other techniques. We have cosmogenic exposure age dating. We have VAAAACK chronologies. We have dendrochronology. We have ice core data. We have magnetic reversals. We have magnetostratigraphy, chemostratigraphy, tephrochronology, amino acid racemization, optically and thermally stimulated luminescence, electron spin resonance. We've got many, many dating techniques that are completely independent from radiometric dating, and they all give consistent results, right? They are all consistent. And so you're not just asking for all of the radiometric half-lives to have varied in some weird way. You also need the rate of cosmic ray impacts to have varied. And that throws another spanner in the works because that is where we get carbon-14 from. So if you vary the rate at which cosmic rays enter the atmosphere, all of a sudden you've got to adjust the carbon-14 dates in a way completely different from what you have to do for uranium-235 and so on.
So here's the thing I want you to understand, Otangelo. Sorry, Tony. This is what I want you to understand, Otangelo. Everything that PhD Tony has just said is not something that we came up with yesterday and said, oh, hey, let's put all these names and numbers and whatnot and just make this thing up. No, this is stuff that has been researched for, what is the most recent age, like the youngest age of this research? 15 years now?
Yeah, that's the youngest age for these techniques, certainly. Yeah,
right.
Many of them are much older than that.
Absolutely. This is not just stuff that says, hey,
radiometric dating in and of itself was, I think, like early 1900s.
Right. Yeah, we're talking
concept of in its very earliest forms.
Right. Yeah, and that we have built upon it, and it's just like kind of like Darwin's work. We build upon it. We fix the errors, we refine it, we make it better, so it makes better predictions and explains reality better. And so that's essentially what radiometric is dating. So someone said, "Oh, this is a thing that we can do." Well, in its earliest form, and then we make it better and find better ways to apply it, better ways to understand things. It's a body of work. It's a body of evidence. It's not one thing. It's not like someone said, "Oh, zircon crystals do this." Earth is 4.5 billion years old.
Right, exactly.
It's not the way it works.
Right, and that's the point that I was trying to make, is that this is decades and centuries and millennia of research that have gone into this.
Well, they
Frank, hang on a second. Frank Perry for $5 says, "As I believe my God made all sorts of smart people to figure out the world and science, He is one of the acceptance and love. Everyone live and let live." Thank you so much, Frank. I really do appreciate that $5 super chat.
so they conceive of science. Oh, I'll let you go with that one and then speak.
Oh no, Uncle Martin says I got a
No.
spread battery on the way out. Stay safe, all. Stay well, fella, and please pass my best wishes to your guests. Thanks, and see ya. Absolutely.
Take it easy, Martin.
So I just want to quickly refute. Tangelo brings up these ridiculous, radiometric dating of recent samples. Now, the young samples, there's a reason why you don't get accurate results for young samples, and that is because there are physicochemical processes that are significant to obtaining ages for a young sample that are generally ignored when you're dealing with a presumed old sample, because you don't have to consider those things for an old sample. So this is the lie that creationists repeat. This is another lie, Tangelo. You're repeating. In this case, it's somebody else's lie, but it's a lie nonetheless. If you send a sample to a corporate lab in order to get dating done, you need to tell them the context, because they need to know what physical processes are to be expected in the sample that you sent them. If you don't provide that context, you've got no excuse for you've got no excuse when they come back with an incorrect age. Of course, they're going to come back with an incorrect age because you didn't give them the data to work out what was going on, right? You didn't let them know that this was a recently produced piece of basalt or whatever. You didn't let them know that, and so they're going to ignore. They're going to assume that this sample is like all the other samples, and they're going to ignore those physicochemical processes, and you're going to get the wrong age. Well, it sucks to be you, but that doesn't matter.
And
Well, they
hang on a second. Tanzil, that you're fine to believe what you want to believe, right? Believe in who, believe in how, whatever, right? But when you come to someone who literally does this for how long have we been doing this, Tony? 150 years now?
Glacial isostatic adjustment only for the last 30.
Whatever, 30, whatever, 30 years, no
baby.
big deal. But that's the point. PhD Tony has built his reputation on this very field of study, and you're sitting there trying to tell him that he's wrong when his work, his field of expertise, is literally in what you are trying to tell him he's wrong about.
Yeah, particularly when you get under the flood. My particular expertise, the particular thing that glacial isostatic adjustment is based on, is the analysis of paleo sea level data. We find, we analyze, and we interpret. And in that context, knowing the age, knowing the limitations and advantages of various geochronological techniques and various sample characteristics, we need to be able to accurately interpret what sea level has done. If there had been a massive flood within the last 6,000 years, we would know about it. There wasn't. It didn't happen. There is absolutely no evidence to support. Yes, there are many local records of inundation. That does not mean that there was a global flood. That you're lying again. And again, I'm an expert in this field. I'm telling you as an expert, a peer-reviewed, published expert in paleo sea levels who has participated in several global analyses of sea level records. There is no evidence for a global flood within the past 6,000 years. In fact, sea level was at or below modern sea level in the recent...
Sorry, Tony.
That just isn't true. Tangelo, and again, you need to cite peer-reviewed arguments in your favor, and there are none. There are no peer-reviewed articles from reputable journals asserting that Noah's Ark has been found. And it's sheer nonsense for you to claim that it is the truth. Because if it were the truth, all of the scientists would agree with you, and we clearly don't.
All right.
There is okay. Hang on a second.
Daryl M's got a comment.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Daryl M. Yeah.
For 5 Oz, he says, I get annoyed when this idiot starts commenting and takes over the conversation in chat.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point. When it comes down to it,
thank you for that $5.
Johnny lives in Texas. I used to live in Texas. In Dallas, okay? In Dallas is the headquarters for Young Earth Creationist Research, okay? The literally the headquarters of the group that spearheads efforts into proving that the Earth is young, and they are the foremost authority on trying to do this. It's a war they cannot win because they've already lost it, but they're going to do it in the name of their god, whatever. The headquarters of the people.
I have a photo of what you get whenever you go to this place. By the way.
The headquarters, the people in charge of this line of reason that you're going down, even they have said Noah's Ark has never been found, and anyone claiming to have found it has turned out to be misidentification or a flat-out hoax. And they have come out publicly and said it will most likely never be found because that would violate the laws of reality.
Well, broadly
it just doesn't
speaking,
work that way. So the people the thing you're championing here is not even supported by the group that goes after this stuff. Even they have said you're wrong.
All right, so here's this is the picture of what happens when you go to the Young Earth Creationist headquarters. This is what you get. Hang on one second.
Half of your brain taken out.
Wait, no, I got it. There you go.
Too small.
It's very small.
Bubbles Clown College.
Yep.
I love you forgot the quotation marks around research.
Anyway, all right. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. I'm in agreement.
I want to say one last thing. Atangelo just said he doesn't think. Yeah, you don't think. Okay, yeah, Atangelo, but nobody gives a rat's ass what you think.
Oh, mining.
Right? It's that simple. Like, you think it's real? Publish. Fine. MC Toon. Oh,
follow your own advice, dude. Keep doing like you need to work on your science like you need to work on your Bible, because you know as little about science as you do about your own religion, which is why you cherry pick it and why you are a salad bar Christian and why the vast majority of Christians disagree with you. You don't I doubt you've even read it cover to cover, because the errors in understanding that you displayed when you were on stage with me and Xerxes and the others, the fundamental mistakes you made when reading the Bible are like, it's the same crap that you do here when you're trying to represent science. You're as bad at Christianity as you are at science.
Anyway,
pick a lane. Do something. Don't drive in the center. Because you're just stalling everybody else.
You get hit from both sides. Well, this goes for
something that Elizabeth Stevens said. I don't have a problem with religious people. They can have their religious beliefs, just as long as their religious beliefs don't contradict science, right?
Or if you try to push them on others is the big one.
And Atangelo has been, pestering me a lot recently, trying to convince me that logically I have to agree with him. No, and I'm not going to. There is such a thing as objective reality, and Christians who work inside objective reality, I've got no problem. MC Toon is Christian, and he and I have never had any arguments. I think that Christianity can be in the hands of a well-intentioned individual, a very powerful and positive force in their life. And I think that it is so for MC Toon, for example. So I don't have any objection to other people's religious beliefs. What I have an objection to is anti-science, because anti-science is, by extension, anti-social. You're trying to undermine society's development and progression. And this is the same problem I have with, anti-evolutionists, anti-young earth creationists, anti-evolutionists, young earth creationists, flat earthers, First Amendment auditors. They're all trying to undermine the edifice of knowledge and shared reality. They're trying to basically Stone Age our public discourse. and I think that it's very, very negative. And that's what I no, exactly so, Elizabeth Stevens. Christianity does require faith, and I've got no problem with people who choose to give Christianity, choose to have faith in Christianity, as long as they don't turn it into something that's anti-science. That's where I have a problem with organized religion of any sort. I need to go AFK. I'll be so. Somebody else can get a word in edgeways.
Well, I was gonna take it easy, Tony. All I was gonna say is they have these ideas that the legal system, the government, the scientific community are all these, conspiracies where they support each other. When in reality, they are communities that hold each other accountable. They're networks of accountability. If you post something and it is not legitimate, there's not this environment where they're going to support it. They're highly competitive environments, and they're going to rip it apart in a heartbeat. So, and you can see that if these individuals stand by these arguments that don't make sense, whatever they be, whether it may be you misinterpret a law, you misinterpret science. If you're attaching yourself to this standalone, it better be fucking gold, because if not, then you're obviously wrong, because everybody else has proven it otherwise. And that is why I have no problem. I do not understand everything when it comes to legal system. Not my degree. I don't have as much training as lawyers, judges. Same thing with science. I know it up to a certain point to be intelligent enough to interpret the basic level of it, but you can trust it to others because they hold each other accountable, and they're going to call each other out if something is wrong. They have a basic problem with that because they think that they should be able to understand everything. And I mean, that's what, MC Toon and the Top Left Awards is. These individuals are so arrogant that they are stuck right at that peak where they cannot learn that they are wrong and then go from there. And so they will always be wrong.
Yeah.
But somehow everybody else.
And just to point out real quick that Otangelo's comment there says, I'm an anti-abiogeneticist.
Let's get off the.
No, like just kind of like that. He says he's anti, but he didn't say he's anti-evolution, which is interesting. But he says he's an anti-evolution. Go ahead, you have a super chat.
I was trying to steer back.
Unfortunately, I need to step away. My dinner just finished. No, sorry, my lunch just finished cooking. So
fair enough.
A little bit, but I may come back if I'm feeling up to it. But lovely to see you both. Sorry, JL, I've just been lacking energy, so I've been sort of.
I totally get it. It's all good.
Anyway, and good night, Zachariah Hooper. Anyway, I'll hopefully I'll be back in a little while. And,
somebody screenshot that. Otangelo just said evolution is a fact.
Okay.
Jail may get that tattooed on his ass.
You see it right there. At 10:03 p.m. On April 8th, 2022, Otangelo just said that evolution is a fact.
I'm going to kneecap you.
So, but I'm just saying, he says he's an
I gotta say
anti-abiogeneticist.
something really quick, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Judy LaPointe for $5 says, Howdy, we'll have to watch tomorrow. Judy, when you watch this back, please get in contact with me because you won the last raffle and I need to get your mailing information. So Judy, thank you so much for that $5 super chat. And here's the thing. We're not going to talk about Otangelo anymore. Otangelo, look, I understand, JL. I get it. I understand, right? Otangelo, you are free to believe whatever you want. On this channel, you have an opinion, you're more than welcome to express it. Now, some people talked about the whole doxing situation again. I wanted to that's where I wanted to end this stream.
That seemed to me.
Yeah, with this whole Dave situation, Dr. Dave situation. Trying to use so back to the whole doxing thing. With most people who dox, they do it as a means of control. It's a threat. It's, if you don't do this, then I'm going to release your information, which is a bullshit tactic. I'm not saying that Dr. Dave himself has personally done this, but people whom associate themselves, be it moderators for his channel or whatever, are involved in that type of behavior. That's something that we shouldn't allow. We shouldn't be okay with that. If people want to have their anonymity on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever, they should be allowed to have their anonymity. releasing their personal information, making that decision for somebody else, it's not your place. It's not what you should. We should not engage in that type of behavior, regardless of what anybody says about anybody. Brainy Beaver and I got into a discussion back and forth during the whole Uni Rock business that he had with Uni Rock, right? And I would tell him often, like, dude, let him say what the fuck he wants. Just ignore that shit. That whole debate about about Brainy being a racist with Fight the Fight, all that, it was done. It's so stupid, so silly. Just let him think what he wants to think. Who cares? I mean, say something about it. Obviously, obviously it bothers you, but say, hey, look, I don't care what he has to say, but I just want to make sure and clear the air that this is not who I am. Done with it and leave it at that. And then you've got, oh man, these people who threaten others. It's just so stupid. I'm going to tell everybody where you live if you don't. Blah 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 blah. Because you said some nasty thing about me, or because you showed a old video of mine on the internet or interwebs, I'm going to release your information. Come on.
Well, he should be calling it out, like I posted in chat. He should. You say you don't know if he did it or not. If it occurs within your community, you should be calling it out and discouraging it and saying, do not do this. And anybody who does, cut them out so that you can minimize their negative impact.
Right. Mr. Schrodinger's cat. Someone doxed my whole name, and then Schrodinger and I weren't married. They also said Schrodinger wasn't dead, and I'm sure he'll try to give out more information. Yeah, it's insane, right? Look, here's the thing. There's a lot of people out there who don't like what Schrodinger's cat did. Don't like what I do with like the whole frauditor movements. And I get it, right? I get it. You don't like something that I say, awesome. Take that shit up with me. Don't take it up with my wife or my kids. That's stupid. What kind of coward does that?
I was just going to get in touch with you, man.
And that's what I'm talking about, jail.
I know.
But these people who do
I had to call his wife.
He did. I was so disconnected with everything, but anyway, that's the thing. So many people. I'm going to go after a widow and a dead man's children. Fuck you. Don't do that shit. That ain't cool. They didn't do anything to you. No one could tell Schrodinger's cat who he could cover and who he couldn't cover. Nobody. Not Nicole, not me, not his mother, his father, no one. Schrodinger made his decisions based on that. Go after Schrodinger, fine. Guy's gone now, unfortunately. I wish he weren't. I miss him all the time. I miss that dry sense of humor. But you can't hurt Schrodinger anymore. And he's a person you had issue with. Don't do that shit. Don't go after people's kids. And that's what doxing does. It puts other people's families at risk. Like, my kids haven't done anything to you. Schrodinger's kids, jail's dogs, haven't done anything to you. Why go after them? What, because you want to see us hurt? Cool. Come after my kids. Find out how much.
That's not going to be the end result.
Right. Find out how much you can hurt me by coming after my kids. I promise you.
Make him a free slug.
Yeah. It's not going to go good for you. I promise you that.
I don't want to be that kind of guy, but if you want, pushing it to that extreme. Just doing what he's doing with Schrodinger's cat. Already the situation is tragic. It's terrible. There's pain, and there's an uncertain future there. And then he's just got to just kicking people when they're down.
Right.
Is what he does, because he can't kick people when they're up. And this is what I called out when I did my little response to him. It's like, you wait for people that you that's the definition of a coward. You wait till people are at their weakest, and then you decide to strike.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people are still subbed to this person. I don't care that he exposed his First Amendment, frauditors. I don't care what his original
hang on a second.
intentions
I
were.
want to make sure this. I am not. No one on this channel.
I'm just asking the question.
No, I understand, but I want to make sure. Is vehemently understood that no one is asking anyone to alter their subscription status to anybody other than mine, please subscribe. If you
Okay.
enjoy what Dr. Dave does, by all means, enjoy it.
Let me, I am Axioms Revolt. I am just asking the question. I am posing it no different than I would pose it. Like, I don't understand why anybody would still eat a Chick-fil-A. I don't, because we know, and we have the documentation that the vast majority that they do put crack in their chicken. I miss it terribly. But the problem is that their board of directors funnels a great amount of Chick-fil-A's profits into anti-LGBTQ efforts and into lining the pockets of legislators who will try to pass laws that are anti-LGBTQ.
Okay, all right.
So that's just that one. I was like, I don't. I mean, if you hold a certain position, how can you support a certain thing? The same thing with Subway.
I know we got Combat Wombat. If you're still on the channel, will you please send me a timestamp of this because I know it's in your video. Please send me a timestamp of this.
I think Telekline released a video that has a kind of a compilation there of what happened. So before you go down the road with Axioms Revolt, you're wasting your breath. I've talked with him on the forums. He thinks that DDT is good for people and doesn't understand that the evaluations of it by the Cancer Association doesn't affect the fact that it causes problems with animals' offspring, so it can spread into other countries. That's a long one, but he has also said that slavery was a choice. He said that very thing. He is a brick wall. He will not get it. He doesn't understand. He thinks the 14th Amendment took away rights when it actually reversed a judicial decision that took them away and it restored some. And his conspiracy theory game goes like stupid deep, and he's not even intelligent enough to understand what he's saying. I'll just be honest.
Well, he has a question. What do we evolve from monkeys to lizards? Well, we are monkeys, so we're literally primates. So we evolved from a family of primates, and technically it wasn't lizards. That's a different line of evolution, but we all evolved from fish. So technically we evolved from fish, and then those fish evolved from other things, and it goes all the way back, hundreds of, it all goes back billions of years. But so technically we were once fish before animals came on land. So it's not lizards or monkeys, it's fish. You don't understand evolution. But like I said, I'm not calling for people to go and do this. But I have to say, when an individual makes a habit of kicking people when they're down, of lashing out at people who have opinions that are critical of him or that run counter to his personal position or his message, when an individual, commits action, half apologizes, lazily walks it back, and then commits it again and doesn't learn from his mistakes, I don't understand why. I don't care if he's funny 10 times, whatever, like 10 times out of 100. The reality of it is the person. And when a person is willing to go out there and kick someone when they're down and think that that's funny.
Yeah.
And to get a rise out of that and be like, ha ha. Okay, I waited for this one particular moment when you were like literally at your worst, and I'm going to kick you when you're down for something that occurred 6 weeks ago, after I have said nothing about this in between the original event and now. I've been waiting for this moment in order to get you. Ha ha. That right there should preclude that. That's just my opinion on that. And like I said, Johnny is correct. Johnny's correct. You can listen to whoever you want to listen. You have that right. But I don't understand.
Well, that's the thing is there. So good portion of.
I want to make sure and answer Liz's question here, because specifically which video you said. I've never heard Dr. Dave say that. Which video? I watched Combat Wombat's video. It's about 13 minutes long. And he specifically puts that portion of whichever video, and I can't remember exactly where it is within there, but yes, I mean, these are things that Dr. Dave has said. And did he mean it? Does he actually do that? I don't know. I don't know that he actually pays people to do this stuff, but the fact he's willing to say stuff like this and then get upset when people criticize that line of thought or action. Come on, man. You're sitting there talking about, I'm going to pay people to dox you. I'm going to pay people to harass you, basically. That's insane. Come on now.
Yeah, when he's doing
Negative.
this.
I am a meat popsicle.
Yeah, the transphobic incident, there's too many incidents. The transphobic incident, the telecline incident, the Irish demon incident, this rally to have people mass report our channels incident, and this whole doxing incident. Where there is smoke, there is fire. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it sits on the water and dives down and lays eggs and flies south for the winter, it's probably a fucking duck. So just
to ask, was he joking when he said that? Out of context of the video, I don't think so. I would have to get into more context of the video, but after seeing other instances of this type of behavior, I don't think that he was joking. And if he was, it's not a very funny joke, especially when there's a website that's run by his, or not the website necessarily, but a subgroup on a website that doxes people, that puts people's information out. And those people that do it are moderators on his channel. So much so, not just like I've got moderators on my channel, but these people that will appear in live chats on his channel, and then they will speak for Dr. Dave. So was he joking? I don't think so. I don't think he was joking when he said that, because the evidence suggests that it wasn't a joke, that he was being serious in tone and in the fact that I can go right now to that thread, and he has put, or his, not Dr. Dave, but Dr. Dave's people have put other people's information on that thread. I have seen the thread. I have seen the information myself. So if it's a joke, it's a shitty joke. I don't think it is. I don't think it's a joke.
Well, it ain't like he's got a lot of time left in the hourglass. His
regardless,
his calendar of weeks, where you pull off a week for everyone that you live, is getting pretty bare. So I mean, yeah, just like eventually, whether he goes away on his own or nature takes its course, whatever,
Still a certain portion of the community that watches these First Amendment auditors and soft sits are just there to see the train wreck. You got a lot of loyal followers, and you see most of them in the comments, especially in the live stream chats, where they hate the way that these people treat people. They watch the videos and make commentary based upon that, but some people are there just to see some upset and some pain and everything else, and those are the people who are going to flock over to a channel where that's occurring, are going to stick there. And unfortunately, those are kind of incestuous grounds, because that toxicity breeds, and that's where you get things springing up like the string you're talking about. And if something like that developed for me, I'd shut it down. Like, not just try to shut down their string, I would try to shut down the whole thing and move the hell on, do something else, or try to bring it up under another name, anything to kill it, because you are now facilitating the essential and possibly physical destruction of somebody's life.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It's the behavior. Like I said, he is free to, I support his whatever he support his right to believe, think whatever he wants, say whatever he wants. Well, I don't think you should be able to go into a crowded movie theater and yell fire, but it's different, within reason, of course, we all know. I just don't, I don't like the fact that we have some people that are making excuses for this behavior when we would call it out on other people.
To anybody. In public, other channels, frauditors, right. Doesn't matter. Well, I mean, we'll hold ourselves accountable.
So to answer Dustin's question, is doxing legally actionable? It depends. So there are two kind of schools of thought about doxing. There is a legal doxing we talked about earlier, talking about how that's releasing somebody's like social security number, bank account number, credit card numbers, things like that. That is a legally actionable offense. And then releasing someone's personal information, like address and whatnot, that can be a legally actionable offense. Yes.
I know that typically when it results in calamitous consequences, it's definitely actionable because swatting is
right.
you know,
Oh yeah, that was the thing
yeah.
where
Oh,
people
yeah.
would call, you know, that was this huge, what was it, about 10 years ago, where people would call in, well, not maybe not 10 years ago, recently, whatever, where people would call in on like Twitch gamers.
Yeah.
And oh my, there were some kids who got in some serious trouble for that. And
There
the
was
fucked up thing was,
someone died.
yeah, right. I was
Yeah.
gonna say someone even lost their life because of this situation.
There's
So-
a guy that got swatted like every day for a month.
Yeah.
Kid you not.
This is why when I moved and I got after I got that first death threat from doing stages and you know making my content, and I've received a number of them. And after I got the first one, I was like, you know what, someone could do this. Someone could technically, they could, if they dug hard enough, they could find where, you know, my information and they could dox me. They could do this. I actually put a call in and had a chat with the local police department and said, it was like, hey, this is going to be a really weird call, but I need to know who I could talk to about, you know, this situation. And they put me in touch with the detective, and I sat down and had like a 30-minute chat about what I do. And that, you know, I got some, you know, some threats online. I just want to give you a heads up. What I do, the content I make is pretty, it can upset some people. If you happen to get these calls about my house, you know, regarding this, you know, and I actually had to, because I'm so rural, I actually had to educate them on what swatting was, you know, because they was like, what is that? And I was like, well, it's when somebody does, and they were like, oh. So he was like, yeah. So, you know, if you were to get something like that, you know, here's my information, here's my name, here's my number, here's everything you need. If you were to get a call like this, you know, I'd appreciate, you know, you being aware of this, having this on the record, saying, hey,
right.
You know, it was like, oh, it's this address. Oh, wait a minute. Let's look into this before, maybe send an officer out, maybe find out what's going on before we decide to, and then,
right.
You know, and wind up getting me hurt or my dogs or something of that nature. So,
yeah, it's just, that's why this stuff, you know, doxing is dangerous because of these types of instances, because this promotes and allows and perpetuates levels of harassment. You know, it's not like, you know, you're saying, hey, look, don't go to this place because, you know, here's all this information of whatever that's going on, this illegal activity that's going on at this place. Don't go to this place. That's different, right? You know, we're sitting there saying, hey, this is a person I don't like. Here's his address. I don't like him because of this, that, and the other. Haha. Do what you do, people. No, there's a huge difference. So, like I said, I just want to make sure that, excuse me, I don't care if you love Dr. Dave, you hate Dr. Dave. I don't have an opinion of him one way or the next as far as that. I don't like the action. For me, it's about the action that he's done. It's about filing false DMCA claim takedowns because people are putting out videos that are unfavorable to what he wants to present himself to be. Sorry, that's the nature of the beast. You know, people want to put out a video about how they don't like what Dr. Dave does. They're more than welcome to do it. People want to put out a video that criticizes Dr. Dave's previous comments that he himself has admitted to saying. Sorry, that's the price that we pay for being on a public forum like this. Somebody wants to pull shit at me from whenever, 5 years ago, 5 minutes ago, and criticize me for that. That's the price I pay for being on this public forum. You know, we have to be okay with a certain level of criticism. And if what Dr. Dave says is true, right? He says, well, those things that I said were in the past and I don't believe in them anymore. That's all he should have to say. That's all you should have to say, Dr. Dave. When somebody puts out this type of video on you that you call a hit piece, it's not really a hit. Well, maybe it is, but hey, you know, this right here. I said those things. They were terrible things to say. I shouldn't have said them now. I mean, I shouldn't have said them then, and I don't say them now. That's not who I am today. That's all you're going to have to say. And unfortunately, when you say some of the egregious shit that I've heard you say, now that I have seen the things that you said, I have heard the things that you said. When you say these egregious things, yes, regardless of whether or not you still believe that, if you don't believe in those things, you don't think that you should have said it back then, you're going to have to answer for these things from now until the day that you die. That's just the way it works. That's always going to be held over you. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that is just the way it works. Yep. We can't walk away from our past. It doesn't happen that way. We can apologize, and we can work to become better people and ask for forgiveness. Not everybody's going to forgive you. But what we don't do is we don't try and silence those people who speak out or who talk about these things, because all that does is make you look guilty of that mindset today.
It's dumb.
It's dumb.
And nonetheless, I mean, like I said, I think I've said my piece on it, and you summed it up quite succinctly there. So I got to get MC2 on my channel. It's totally off topic. I see MC2's in the chat. I'll be like, I got to get MC2 on my channel because I've been meaning to have a sit down chat with him regarding various things. I'm not trying to.
Don't go back there.
Don't go there. Scary things happen there.
Well, only when I get tricked into having crazy people on my channel and they wind up coming on.
Tricked you. Nobody tricked.
They do when they start out like, oh yeah, I'm a totally normal person. I want to have normal conversations about normal things and really engage in this. And then they get on my channel and they're like, blah, 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 and it's like, mute.
You were warned.
well, I'm. It's a learning experience, and I have learned from my mistakes, and I make better choices now. I'm like Tony. I'm like Iron Man because I learned from my mistakes.
Yeah.
That's
Don't have on people that look like Santa Claus.
That's an inside joke about YouTube Shorts because there's that constant thing about how the Iron Man armors keep improving because Tony learns from his mistakes. So I don't know if you're aware of that. I spend way too much time listening to YouTube Shorts. Yeah.
Drew to the point for $5 says, Dr. Davis has been getting a little strange for a while. This was happening well before the Irish demon stuff. Now I am really going now. All right. Thank you for that $5 super chat.
MC Tune, if you want to get crazy on my channel, you are more than welcome because at least I know that I think I know you well enough. I've shaken hands with you. I've stood in the same room as you.
That wasn't his hand you were shaking.
It was Team's office when we were doing. I was there. He keeps it dark in there, maybe for a reason.
I did call you Liz. I remembered.
And I'll have to say, Elizabeth Stevens or Liz. I will, I will say that on my channel. I don't go after. Yes, I do attack. I attack the same things that Tony was talking about. I attack.
Yeah, I'm so glad I'm not the only one who's helmet.
So I go after the same stuff that Johnny O, that PhD Tony was talking about, how infringement on rights, the suppression of free thought, and the attempts to try and theocratize the United States of America, the efforts of extremist evangelicals who will toe the line as to that's a possibility. He may be a representation of the holographic universe. I'm not 100% sure, but
well, and if you listen to Randolph Richardson's every other Sunday morning panel, you can hear T-Jump reasonably calmly explain things until the person's been on there for about 10 to 12 minutes, and JL comes on and goes, listen, this is why you're stupid. Okay.
Why kick a moo cow? Number 855 says, is it just me or is Betty Boop kind of hot?
She is.
I don't know. Her head's bigger than her ass.
No. Come on. All of us were in agreement with Eddie Valiant in Who Framed Roger Rabbit when he's like, Betty, you're working here? And she's like, life's been kind of hard since cartoons went to color. But I still got it, Eddie. And he's like, yeah, you still got it. He's like, Betty Boop still got it.
Yeah, one of the locations that we filmed at had a Betty Boop, like a statue on the way in. She was the one that you used to control the music. It was a 50s theme type restaurant place. It's really cool.
They have one of the Blues Brothers statues.
No, they didn't have
because there's an eatery, a pizza joint called Fifth Street that's up in it's up in North Texas that we does a magnificent St. Louis style. To die for, and they have the Blues Brothers statues.
I didn't realize Louis style pizza was a thing until recently.
So good.
No, I don't have new lighting. Because I gaffed this project, all of my gear was taken down and used, so all of it's still. I haven't I got home today and unloaded my grip truck today, so I haven't put up all my shit back. So I'm using house lights, which suck. But
Well, that's
Turn
part
up-
of
turn up
why
the house
I'm not
lights.
on
Turn up the
right
house
now.
lights.
Is I've just got lights on.
Those are the lights you see when it's time to leave.
yep, right. So speaking of which, it is now time to go. Everybody say goodbye. Say goodbye. JL,
It's
say
not time
goodbye.
to go.
It's time to go.
Oh well, John Rapp is
Motherfucker,
asking
I've
you.
been up since 6 o'clock yesterday.
John Rapp is
I'm gonna actually get up
that was a choice. You chose. You
That's
chose
awesome.
to do that.
Time to go.
And we're
Real,
gonna
plug
debrief-
yourself and move on.
Yeah,
Plug.
we're gonna debrief on Sunday. So to answer John Rapp's question, when is the next Call In Atheist show? That show that we do on Discord over in the politics server is every other Sunday. So the last one was on the 3rd. So the next one will be on the 17th. So all of us will be up there. It'll be me, King Xerxes, possibly King Xerxes, Jefferson Spatchcock, T-Jump, Randolph Richardson, Ix, Taco, a number of us, and we will do the same thing. Pretty much, I hope it'll be awesome. So that's every other Sunday on the politics, on the Discord, or the politics Discord server. So you can find that link in that video, that live stream that was on my channel. I myself, I'm going to be going live as well. I hopefully will have MC Tune on the show on my channel very, very soon. There's things to talk about that are going craziness that is going on.
Don't beat the koala.
I don't beat the koala. I hit my mic. That's why he's safe up here, because I never do this. I always come at it from underneath. So
You always come at the koala from underneath.
So all kinds of cool stuff going on my channel. I hope to see everybody over there. And then, of course, we have the podcast. Aaron, Johnny, me, Eugene, and Alex are, Week in Horror podcast, and you can check that out. I've linked it in the chat a couple of times every Wednesday or Thursday, depending on circumstances. And that's pretty much it. So I hope to see you all around.
All right. I don't have
question
too
for
much
you.
to plug.
Oh.
What? So I say I don't have too much to plug right now. I'm just doing some spots on the shills on weekends. Usually start around 7. I show up some point, say some commentary on some asinine topics, and then we all move on. Pretty funny.
It's always a good time. It's always a good time. So Jason asks, how can we see your movie? The documentary is still doing the circuits, and I might play it in the Discord server. I do it from time to time. I haven't done it in a while, but just get into the Discord server. The link should be popping up somewhere in the side chat. If not, it should be linked in some other videos, or I'm sure one of my mods could put it up there.
I'll drop it.
Cool. The film that I'm working on currently is a very hush-hush type thing. The directors and producers and co-writers are using this as a pilot. They're trying to shop to different places, so we'll see how that goes. So it's not a whole lot I can say about it other than I had fun doing it. But yeah, as soon as I can share that with you guys, I most definitely will. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm going to get back to regular content creation, I promise. It's been a interesting past couple of weeks, but that's all I got. I'm so happy to see you guys. So happy to sit down with you guys.
You didn't even mention Will Smith.
I talked about that when it happened.
But no. The Academy's ruling and what they've said.
I haven't seen it. That's the thing. I've been
The punishment.
disconnected. I've been so disconnected with all that. The last thing I heard about Will Smith was that he expelled himself from the Academy.
Well, the Academy banned him from any shows or award presentations for 10 years. That's his punishment.
I mean, if that happened on a sidewalk somewhere, nobody would care the next day. Because it happened on a sidewalk in a fancy gala, all of a sudden it's the end of the damn world. They worked it out between themselves. Just let the man move on.
You hit somebody, you don't get to come to the party anymore. It's pretty much what I mean. I don't even know if the Oscars will last another 10 years.
No.
It's falling apart so much, but yeah. And
Yeah,
I know he resigned from the Academy, but he's no longer invited to the award ceremony.
Yeah.
So he's barred from the award ceremony for 10 years. So you make a ruckus at the party, you don't get to come to the party anymore. They've
already been criticized for not awarding enough black actors, and then you just ban one of the winningest black actors in existence. How's that going to go for you? Do you see long-term returns on that?
Yeah, they didn't ban
that's why I said one of the winningest, not the winningest. One of, sir.
Anyway, it's time to go. Say bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. See ya.